Hello, Teleforma, you beautiful souls out there, YouTube, and the lovely gentleman Mike from Faraday Research joining me yet again. How are you doing tonight, my friend?
Pretty good, pretty good. Busy week, a lot of stuff going on. Then my computer decided to bite the big one. So I've been trying to do recovery and back up some of the files just in case the worst case scenario happens. So yeah, I've also been doing some design work on the Tesla coils. So yeah, anybody who's been following my channel, I've been talking about materials to use for a Tesla coil. So it turns out, believe it or not, that PLA plastic that you use for 3D printers is a very, very good dielectric. And for every square millimeter, or sorry, for every millimeter, it can handle about 30 kilovolts.
Sorry, say that again. Did you say the plastic that you can use from 3D printers?
Yep.
Yep. So and what type again?
It's called PLA. It's called polylactic acid. It's a cornstarch.
Okay, I gotta write this down. I gotta write this down for my friend out here.
Yeah, it's a cornstarch byproduct. It's called polylactic acid. So PLA. And apparently it's number 2 to acrylic. Now acrylic is very, very expensive. It's not cheap, but it is one of the best insulators other than glass. But the PLA plastic, if you want to go the cheapy route and actually design your own Tesla coils, PLA apparently is a very good option. So I can show you guys what I've been up to on the computer here. Just bear with me here.
Please.
So I've been designing. I got more of an engineering manufacturing background. I'm a CNC machinist by trade. So I know AutoCAD, AutoCAD Fusion, programs like that. So they come in very handy when you have to design your parts for your projects. So there's a number of guys out there that have 3D printers and they're designing their stuff. So anyways, this is kind of a rendition of the coil I'm going to be printing out. So you can see I can manipulate it on the screen any way I want. And this is how the Tesla coil is going to look when it's after it's printed. So that took me all of about 10 minutes because I know the program so well. So I can mock up a test piece very, very fast. So Fusion 360 is pretty much where it's at. If you want to do really good renderings and design your parts, and then it also has the function in here where you can actually send it to your 3D printing program. So you can get in there and go to 3D print, send it to Cura, which is called a slicing program that creates the G code that your 3D printer reads. And this is the program here. It's called Cura. There's many programs out there that do it. I've been using Cura for a long time, well, pretty much since the beginning. And in the beginning, I was actually building my own 3D printers. So I have a lot of background in this stuff. So
anyways, that's amazing, Mike.
Yeah, you can pretty much set up all your parameters for all the features, density, infill. It even tells you how long it's going to take to print. So this one here is going to take about 3.5 hours to print it, give or take.
And so then when you're printing that off, then that tube, it's the dielectric that insulates, and then you wrap your copper coil around that, right?
Right, exactly. Yep. So this one here is going to be 3 millimeters thick. The walls of it. Here, let me show you on the other program here. So it's kind of hard to see, but when you zoom in on it, 3 millimeters. It's not very thick, but for the dielectric, it can handle 30 kilovolts per millimeter. So that's a pretty good dielectric. So I figure I'll do 3. It'll make the tube a little bit more rigid. It's not gonna like fold up on me. And yeah, and I'm gonna do it as 100% infill, so there's not gonna be no spaces. It's gonna be one solid mass. So that will
Nice.
create a
Okay.
very good dielectric.
So
So
you're
go ahead.
saying one solid mass, like so there'll be no gap in the center, or just the
Well,
entire
it'll be
tube?
well the center of the tube's gonna be hollow, right? Because
Okay, yeah. Solid mass, like what's being 3D printed is what you're saying.
right. Because you can do like infill, like a honeycomb on
So
the
it's a
inside.
solid wall.
Right. Yeah. It's gonna be solid. Where in most guys when they do 3D printing, they will do a certain percentage of infill, so that saves a lot of material and also takes a lot less time to print it. But because I need a dielectric barrier, I have to do it at 100%. So it's going to be a solid piece. It's not going to be hollow in any way inside the walls, right? It's going to be a solid mass.
That's
So,
cool. So have you ever experimented with putting another coil inside of like the tube? So you're essentially creating like a a Tesla coil within a Tesla coil.
it's
But
funny you mentioned that. There was I'm trying to think now. You just jarred a memory. There was somebody doing an experiment where he was actually adding a coil within the coil. Oh, what was it? Maybe I'll think about it later. But yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. Oh, yes, that's right. Okay, what this guy was doing, he was taking those static wheels. I forget what they call them. They're a giant wheel, and he's spinning. It creates electrostatic.
No, that's not a Van de
It,
Graaff
it's
generator.
similar to a Van de Graaff. It's the older version of it.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
wheel. They spin the wheel.
Campbell's featured many of them that have been
Yeah,
discovered in these like old French and German castles and stuff like that.
right. So what this guy was doing, he was making like this capacitor. So it'd be like a Tesla coil, and you have another coil in the middle of it. And this was the medium in which he was able to get the power into the median he needs to actually use it for like charging a battery or something like that. So I have a few videos of my favorites there that show this coil. So it's like a Tesla coil, and then another coil is in the center of it. So it's energizing the coil on the inside, and that's the power he takes out to like a capacitor bank, and then can pump it into batteries or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Or your mechanical battery as well, or whatever people have running in the system, right?
Yeah. So these programs are very useful. I'm using them forever because building stuff just by hand, right? If you can design something on a 3D printer and print it off, I think is pretty damn cool.
Huge. Have you ever seen, sorry to interrupt, but have you ever seen any of like these Russian channels where they're 3D printing off a bunch of what seem to be legitimate perpetual motion over gravity wheels with like magnets, essentially magnets within them that keep them going, and also a couple of what seem to be like double rotating pendulums that could also be perpetual?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of videos. I even seen that one guy that supposedly made a anti-gravity disc. He actually uses a Tesla coil in his circuit to actually get this thing off the ground. I'm still kind of skeptical on his theory on how it works. Actually,
yeah, I know which one you're talking about. They were going over it, I think.
On APEC, on the APEC
last episode.
Yeah, that's right. I'm still kind of skeptical of that guy. Sorry.
I'm more referring. There's like these straight in Russian channels, but they're 3D printed like double pendulum wheels that then have a couple of like balls in them that also are going.
Yep.
So there's moving parts, but they seem like they could be legit. Would you be able, if I like sent you the link to either 3D print, like figure out the same design to print yourself, or can we
Well,
guess
just
you can
send it.
translate to see if he can actually give you the file or whatnot to print off.
Yeah, just send me it to my email and I can take a look at it. I don't know. Just a lot of the Russian stuff, I'm sorry to say, is kind of skeptical. Some of it is real, but I also noticed.
No, there's one specific channel I'm talking about
Yeah,
that
I think.
it's not well known whatsoever in the West, but he's got a couple million subscribers, like just in Russia, and he
Yeah,
does projects one at a time, and he just does three, and like half of them don't work, and he shows that they don't work, and half of them seem to work, and it's just a mixture of him 3D printing types of like pendulum wheels and the flywheel type thing with
yeah,
a combination of magnets and or pendulums in his projects.
yeah. There was a guy that made that magnet generator that just basically spins in with the magnet field.
Yeah.
Supposedly, the guy was killed. No, I
Hey,
don't know how
okay.
true. Now, if it really did work, it wouldn't surprise me if he's dead, because there's been quite a few guys that kind of bit the big one, unfortunately.
Yeah, and
Because
especially in the 90s, early 2000s, and before then. But I don't think there's really been anyone taken out since like at least 2012 or like 2018 or so.
yeah, like
It,
Stanley
it,
Meyer, I think
oh,
Stanley
yeah.
Meyer was the last one. The Bendini brothers, that was a little bit different of a situation. His brother already got diagnosed with cancer, as far as I know. And
And that could
then,
be even caused by a side effect of the technology they were
sure,
experimenting with, right?
yes,
Who
yeah,
knows? A
because,
lot of them
yeah,
could.
yeah,
That's
because
something to
I
take
think,
into consideration.
yeah, because the Bendini brothers, they were into the radio technology, the audio technology. So if they were playing with a lot of frequencies, like with the Rife machine and stuff like that, if they were hitting certain frequency levels, it could be doing some harm to them,
Right?
because
Exactly.
there is frequencies out there that are harmful to the human body. And unfortunately, one of them, it will be used every day with the 5G cell phones. So I actually believe, actually, I kind of did a little test and actually proved that a 5G cell phone on your body for a prolonged period of time could actually um, cause pain.
Really?
And yeah,
So
I
I
keep
should
myself.
switch out of my 5G into 4G then, is what you are saying.
Well, not even. Well, if you're going to
For
use the 5G phone,
exposure,
just
I'm
well,
always on my phone, right? So it's
right.
like if I'm around it that much, it would be a precautionary health measure that it'd be better to be in the 4G range than constantly in the 5G, right?
Well, yeah, it's a little bit safer of a bandwidth, but like the 5G phones, I would not keep them on your body. Like, don't keep them in your pockets. If you're going to keep it like in a purse or a handbag or something like that, it's a lot safer than actually having, say, like in your pocket.
Yeah,
And
okay,
and
gotcha.
so I did this experiment. I was noticing my left knee was giving me a lot of problems. Like, it was like arthritis pain, like, or when the weather changes, you ache.
Yep.
Okay, well, my cell phone just happened to be in my front pocket on my left side, so it's right on my thigh. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, I'm getting older too, right? So, like, I'm gonna have these little aches and pains. So, anyways, for the last week or so, I've taken my phone out of the pocket and trying to put it somewhere else. And sure enough, my leg doesn't have any pain anymore. So I think there's some credence to that. And even Eric Dollard says, you know what? It's like if you're having these 5G phones right next to you, he says in bean seeds, he was noticing a huge mutation change within about 5 minutes of exposure.
Wow, that is a practical experiment that people can do at home themselves. If you want to
Yep.
see the effects of 5G, take some seeds, have them next to your 5G with it on, like your 5G, put them right on top of your 5G modem or something. Leave them there for
Yep.
a month and have the same amount of the same seeds in a bowl in your kitchen, away on the opposite side of wherever your house is, where the modem is. Leave it there for a month, then plant them, and see what happens.
So he had a guy years ago. He was telling the story about he had this guy that was pretty well to do, and he invited him over to his place, and he goes, "You know what? I'm getting all this rash on my body, irritation. He was getting dizzy and all this kind of stuff. I don't care what it costs to find out what it is. I don't care. Just find out what's hurting me." So he ran some tests, and it turned out it's the radio frequencies from the cell phone towers and Wi-Fi. He was extremely sensitive to this. So he goes, "Well, how do I protect myself?" He goes, "Oh, live in a bubble." Or wrap your body in a lot of tinfoil.
Right? Yeah.
Like he says, the amount of radiation.
You have your own personal Faraday cage.
Yeah, pretty much.
At the same time, this is what really fascinates me with so much of like the royals, ancient and like the real ancient civilizations. All their robes, their crowns, their gowns, they're covered in, or even the knights in their metal mesh. Like that's an actual Faraday cage around yourself. You're creating with the chainmail and stuff like that. That who knows, right? That you're grounding yourself to the ultimate EMP protection, really, in those mail.
Yeah, because you don't realize it. The second you step out the front door of your house, you're getting blasted right in the face by all these radio frequencies.
Like, even in your house when you're frosting our own 5G freaking modems that we're running off of, and your cell phones and everything else, right? Like,
so when
if you're keeping your cell phone by your like headset while you're sleeping at night, or your headdress, make sure you turn your Wi-Fi off, because that alone's broadcasting it right next to your skull.
See, like right now I'm using a wired headset. That's a lot safer than Bluetooth, right? So
100%.
Yeah, there's something to it. Like, you got to understand the human body is sensitive to radio frequencies, and it just happens that what they're using today is not that good for the human body.
Not at all. And it's just ignorance on such a massive scale on how fast they've been implementing these new technologies without actually doing real like studies and safeguards and checks and effects of long term. Like, it's like I'm probably going to have a tumor in the side of my head by the time I'm 50 or 60 with the amount.
It's not even that. There's a lot of microwaves going on. Don't forget the cosmic radiation that we're getting from the sun. So we're just getting blasted every day. It is literally a war on our body. And the scary part is we don't see it. We can't see this.
Exactly. It's completely invisible to the human eye.
So to the powers to be, they don't care what the frequency is, but they know you're not going to see anything because you can't see it, right? Because we're all visual all the time.
So imagine like a bat or a dolphin that might actually see in all of those wavelengths, and like.
Well, why do you think
whales that get all messed up when the Navy uses the sonar? It's like that probably just blinds them like crazy if they're actually seeing that wavelength.
That's why they're beaching themselves.
Perspective.
That's why they're beaching themselves all the time. They're being exposed to so much radiation from either submarines or radar and all this stuff. Like the sharks, they have sensors on the front of their snout that are very, very sensitive to electromagnetic frequencies, and it can really screw them up in their navigation, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, it's a matter of like, okay, so we're inundated with all these frequencies every day. What do you do to protect yourself?
Yeah, and I think the charged water that you do and the monoatomics that I do and drink myself, and we got to get on doing a combination of both of them. Probably helps somewhat.
Yeah.
But
It's just something that
your lowering exposure definitely is the first step.
Yeah, you just it's one of those things that's almost impossible to hide from. You can't live in a bubble your whole life. You know what I mean? But some people are very, very sensitive to stuff, and they've even taken the Wi-Fi out of schools because some kids were actually, experiencing so much negative symptoms to the point where they're feeling nausea and sick to their stomach and stuff like that. Sure, you definitely have an effect on your body. So, there's a lot of misinformation out there, but Eric Dollar was studying this stuff, and I think Eric Dollar is pretty close to it. He says, standing outside is like getting blasted with a blowtorch, with all these radio frequencies, especially even the one power lines, because the power lines are such dirty power.
Oh yeah, living underneath them, it's crazy. There's like the power line, high voltage power lines, like a couple blocks from my house, and there's like houses on either side, and it's like you walk underneath them on a misty day, or like it's just like.
Well, you can, yeah, you can
exposing yourself to constantly.
Well, the thing, not even that, you could even hear them buzz.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just showing here. I had Jester Rosewood off Facebook asking if we talk about Orgone energy much, and I'm just showing off some of my Orgone.
Yep. There's guys making Orgone generators using the crystals they would use like a bucket, and they arrange them, I believe, in a three pedestal pattern, and they would have like a copper coil around them.
Yeah, there's in this one there's a copper coil around an amethyst crystal in the middle, more copper coils, and I've been wanting to make my own here. These are just ones that I've gotten off of other people, and I've vended them at some of the music festivals I was vending at over the years. But I want to get into making my own and do like the a combination of the nano coated Keshi copper style coils, right, as well as the crystal dielectric layering of different coils within them.
Right. There was a guy I was watching. He thinks he stumbled on the anti-gravity, I guess, formula to actually propagate the waves in a certain frequency. And from his studies, he says gravitational waves run at 2.6 million megahertz. Very, very high frequency. And he did some tests where he actually got it on the scope. So instead of being one wave or two waves, it's actually a 4-pole type waveform. Yeah, it's 4 poles. Now, I don't know if this is, legit stuff, but he showed a couple of experiments where he made an air coil, about 2.5, 3 inches diameter, and he had two wires extending out. Said the wire weighed about 10 grams, and if he put the coil, and now the thing is with this experiment, there's no power going in it, and if he tilted that coil at 15 degrees, the wire hanging start to rise and start to get any gravity effects.
Okay, yeah, I think I've seen similar sort of things to what you're talking about.
So he did the same experiment with a similar coil. He was putting 30 milliamps of power into the coil, and he was able to levitate a salt shaker in the air. That weighed, I think, about 100 grams, 150 grams, something like that. But he says it has to do, it's a monopolar field to charge the coil, but it's got to be tuned to get the 2.6 million megahertz. It's like really, really high. Don't quote me on that number. I'm pretty sure what he said it was 2.6 million hertz. So when he charges the coil at that frequency, it has I guess it resonates. It's almost kind of like a tank circuit type effect. And so he showed the experiment how he was flipping the wire around his seas. He goes, see how it's hanging? It's not lifting. It's the coil's got to be at a 15-degree angle. And when it goes at the 15-degree angle, basically gravity cancels out, and then the wire starts rising up. And he says, well, so his buddy said, well, push down on the wire. So he pushes down on the wire, boom, the thing comes right back up. So
that's interesting. Very interesting.
So that's the thing. Like, there's so many out there that claim, they got anti-gravity.
I've seen so many though and like with different repeating sort of effects lately, that there's definitely a lot of legitimacy, I think, to most of these people's claims. Like, maybe not all the way, and definitely half the stories out there are absolute trash. But to the lifelong, like, do it themselves scientists, researchers, kind of like you and me, only that have been doing it for another 30 years or whatnot. A lot of the videos out there I've seen, they do seem like it makes sense from the physics way that they describe the workings of the mechanics of it. And then I've seen several that are have like a common sort of theme or whatnot to it, right?
Yeah. See, I think a lot of that has to do with, honestly, when they actually publicly come out with the discovery, if and when they do so, it's going to be all about frequency.
Yeah. That is definitely the key part, right? Because you can have the entire machine built to code, but you're putting in the wrong frequency, and you'll never figure out why it doesn't work.
That's
right.
Like, that's right. So as soon as you find
one letter wrong in like a coding, if you're doing computer programming, you have the full code, but you accidentally hit the space bar twice in the middle of the code, and then you can't figure out why it never works.
Yeah.
That's what frequency is for the energy of an engineered device.
Yeah. I honestly believe it's all frequency. When you get the right apparatus made and you get the proper frequency in there, you get a cancellation. Now, I have other ideas in mind when it comes to anti-gravity stuff, and it's actually a lot easier in my methods to actually create anti-gravity effects. Now, remember, okay, let's go there. I remember the airships, right? The Zeppelins and all those, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the mass of, say, hydrogen or the mass of helium is less than air, right? Yep. So therefore, that cancels out gravity in a different way, because we're living in this bubble of air.
Buoyancy, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's buoyancy.
Gravity needs to be understood in the buoyancy terms as
right.
well.
Right.
And then also rotation is a part of it, I do believe.
I think it's part of
your
high stability
voltage, right?
Or I think the spinning has to do with stability. Because you get the gyroscopic effect. If you get a gyro and you spin that really, really fast, to do any kind of angular movements with that gyro becomes extremely hard.
The inertial aspects of the interdimensional or anti-gravity force or powers.
Yeah, because when you spin a gyro, in the horizontal position, to flip it over on a vertical position becomes very, very difficult, because what you're doing is you're locking that wheel in time space. Okay, when it's locked, it's now stable. So if you have any torsion forces from the top or the bottom trying to flip it over, it's not going to go, because the forces are going out on the horizontal, and the rotation, the speed of the rotation, the inertia, obviously it is an invisible effect, because if there wasn't inertia coming off and affecting gravity, you would be able to flip that gyro like no problem, but it doesn't. It stays fixed. So what is the reaction of inertia according to gravity. There is a relationship there, and I think a lot of guys haven't gone on that route. There's some kind of reaction, because if inertia was basically irrelevant to gravity, you would be able to flip that gyro like no problem. But you can't. So that means there's some relationship with inertia and gravity.
100%.
So if you can figure that out, that you're one step closer in the right direction.
Right.
So
And there's multiple dimensions of gravity that need to be understood, right? And it's that there's the buoyancy aspect, there's the electromagnetic aspect, there's the rotation aspect, and a couple more that, like, the inertial sort of aspect. One thought I just had, though, with flywheels and what you were just saying, and how they're mechanical batteries, but at the same time, it's the exact same principle that you were just talking about of blocking that quantum time space.
That's right.
As it's spinning in that high rotation. And but for anybody out there to physically experience what we are talking about, it's the difference of the cheap fidget spinners that just has one ball bearing in the very center of it, and the well-made fidget spinners that have another 3 ball bearings like on the outside, so that you're spinning one inner ball bearing, and then you have 3 other ball bearings spinning within themselves within that spinning thing, and that you will feel exponentially more force trying to move the
trying to flip it on
than the cheap one. Right. And that has to do with what you're talking about, Mike, that locking of time space.
That's right, because if inertia was irrelevant to gravity, you would be able to flip it over no problem. So that means there is a relationship with inertia and gravity. Now, what that is, I haven't really gone into that direction because that's not really my expertise, but I do have some theories on it. But let's step back for a second. Let's talk about the airships, okay? They were using, back in those days, they were using hydrogen because it was easy to manufacture. These days we could do with helium. It's non-explosive and has the same effects. Now, the last airship that was built in the United States was, I believe, 1939. Okay, so they disappeared. Now, they were a cheaper way to travel. They're very safe to travel as long as you have the proper gas in it. And they experience basically the same effects as anti-gravity with no power input. All they needed was fans to direct their trajectory, and that was it. But as far as keeping them aloft in air, in altitude, it didn't really cost them anything. So why did the airships disappear? I think they went into black projects personally. I think they went underground. I think they did some serious R&D in the airships, and some of the UFO sightings that you see today could very well be these high-tech airships.
Right? And then it's like, what's the difference between a submarine hull and an airship hull that they could have essentially been transformed into both? It could have been the Hindenburg from, that was before World War I, right? Or by the Germans sometime
about 1939. Well, Hitler had the
Hindenburg. World War II, I meant before World War II. And it's that you're having these same. Another aspect of the anti-gravity, like the high voltage, but the plates, like the T-Townsend Brown effect of it, and that like a submarine shell or an airship shell, both essentially, if you have the right metal coating or superconducting or whatever word you want to use, anyways, that's the same tube shape, same material, same pressure of going, and it's buoyancy, and it's between air and water, and then what's above us in whatever layer that could be above. Maybe it's all plasma up there, maybe it's more water, maybe it's water. Maybe it is a vacuum, maybe it's nothing at all. Who really knows?
You know what?
The effects that it could be, especially when you're thinking in the terms of buoyancy in relation to gravity.
See, when you think about anti-gravity, okay, we're talking about something that's only going to be used on the planet, okay? Now, the whole point is being able to get a ship off the ground and get it into outer space. Okay, well, anti-gravity doesn't work in outer space because you're already in a void. So the use of anti-gravity in outer space is redundant.
Well, that's under old physics, because what's to say or new physics, old physics of, as you do believe as well, the ether state, that then if you are in this ether material or this underlying higher dimensional energy like substance dimension, whatever it is, that it's not necessarily actually a vacuum then either.
Well, what you got to kind of look at, okay, so the big problem is right now, present day, they're using rockets, okay? You know, this is 2,000-year-old technology, okay? So why haven't we used a system where you say use like a very high-tech blimp to bring, say, a spaceship up into like, say, 80,000 or 100,000 feet, and then launch the rocket from there? So now you're burning way less fuel to get into outer space now. Okay, so honestly, when it comes to anti-gravity stuff, I'm sorry to say we should focus our methods of how to get into space. Okay, anti-gravity is great. Okay, yeah, you can float around the Earth, you know, with anti-gravity effect, but it means absolutely nothing anymore as soon as you get into outer space, because there is no gravity. Well, there is gravity in space, but you're in a void now. So basically, you don't need that now. What they should really be focusing on is warp drive. That's what they should be focusing on. Don't worry about the anti-gravity, because the second you get out of the Earth, you don't have to worry about. What you have to worry about when you're on the planet is the method to get to space. Okay? Maybe anti-gravity is not the answer to it. Maybe using these very large airships to bring the ship up to a very high altitude and then launch it from there. Why launch it from the ground? Are they stupid? You know what I mean? Like,
it's this point right here that it's like there must be some sort of secret space program or some sort of alien intervention that prevents us from leaving, or you know, something that, because the current bullshit that they claim, and that's why the US stopped the shuttle program, is because it's just that big of a facade of a joke that they're like,
well, you know what?
It's too expensive to be doing this stupid ass launch. There's definitely technologies out there that do it.
Well, I've seen a video.
Energy officially and better, you know, like.
Well, I've seen the last shuttle that blew up on the way back. Well, apparently a video went on the web. I'm not sure how accurate it is. It looks very real. It was blown up by Mr. E.T. They blew it up just before it was going back to Earth. So the shuttle was already in pieces coming back to the Earth. It didn't blow up on the way down. It was already blown up. It was the remnants of what was left of the shuttle in orbit. So whatever they did to Mr. E.T. up there.
Okay,
I've seen the video. I've seen the video.
The video, yeah, where the two things come up, go boop, boop, and yeah, right?
I think, honestly, I think that's real.
I do too. 100%. Like, I remember when it first came out, and like I watched that, like rewatched it probably 50 times, scrutinizing it, and went to some like deep web sources, and like nobody could come up with any like debunking or like anything to discredit it, like any discrediting evidence.
I've seen it on YouTube. Yeah, I've seen it on YouTube, but I don't know if it's still up there. It could still be up there, but if anybody gets a hold of that video, take a look at it. It looks very legit. Like, the way that they're showing the matter.
The other things move up, and
how everything's moving in space and everything.
the best fucking scam hoax ever recorded.
Oh yeah, hands down. That one there. If that one, if that one was CGI, that guy should get a gold medal for that. Like,
as well as the guys recording the voice. Yeah, like, oh my god, like the radio voices and stuff. Like, you can't. There's just some emotion that you can't fake. Like if you're really like perspective or intuitional person and stuff, path, you just like they were shook in that conversation, and then like what you were looking at, like that was some that the CGI alone should also win an Oscar. Like, it's fucking
everything. That was, if that was a hoax, that was the best hoax I've ever seen ever.
100%.
Oh yeah, by far. So I really believe that they pissed off ET that day, and ET blew the snot right out of the shuttle. So I think either the United States space program was doing stuff that they didn't like.
Yeah, well, did you hear though? Like, apparently it was like they were that shuttle right before it got blown up. It was doing a south to north pole orbit, which they like never do, and it was supposed to be like right over like some Russian land that like they weren't allowed to, or something like that. And that was like part of the whole question of like, was it ETs? Was it some Russian technology? What did they do that they were violating, but they got destroyed on that mission?
See, a lot of people don't know over 30 missions of that space shuttle program were deep military black programs, and they showed the launch, but they didn't talk anything about it. So there was, I think it was, something recalls 25 missions that were basically were black. They wouldn't talk about them. So was it the Star Wars program? Were they sending into space? Now,
all right, but let's get back. Sorry, Mike. I know you work in the aerospace industry and stuff, but we are streaming to Cambell's channel as well right now, and people are just like, shut the F up about space. We don't know. So we will get back to some other topics here on.
Let's talk about the gravity thing again.
The Tesla coil thing that you were making, and can we also get another demonstration of the dual spark gap? Because it fascinates me how the one spark gap has exponentially more power and different color going through it than the other one, than the first over the second.
Right. Kind of not set up for that today.
Okay, no worries. We will just talk the anti-gravity engineering aspects.
Yeah. So going back to the whole thing about they should be focusing more on like hyperdrive, warp drive. Now, these ETs that are obviously coming here, we are being visited. The government doesn't want to admit it, but we know they exist. How ignorant can we be to think that we're the only thing that exists? Like, that's pretty ignorant, personally.
I agree with that.
So one guy, I heard an interview with this one guy. He was an older gentleman. He was talking about gravity, and his take is how they're getting here is they're not in the same dimensional reality that we are. So therefore, if they're not in the dimensional reality that we are, they cannot react to gravity because they're in a different dimensional reality.
And they cannot also not physically harm us, or like there's nothing like, never surrender your consciousness to anything higher dimensional, because in this dimension and reality, they are equal with us in that, and we are even stronger in that we are physical and they are not. So anyone that goes to those deep dark thoughts or has an experience, it's like, never surrender your own equality and your own power of what your soul and your spirit is in existence.
Right. See, it boils down to the fact that if they're in a different dimension, okay, and they're traveling into this dimensional reality, so our laws of physics don't affect them. They're on a different level of physics that are not congruent with ours. So if they're coming in and you can see them and they're floating through the air, is
Okay,
because
sorry.
gravity.
There's this comment saying gravity does not exist either. I'm sorry. If gravity does not exist, what the fuck brings you back down when you jump up? Please explain that one if you're trying to claim gravity doesn't exist.
Yeah, if gravity doesn't exist, then everything would float off into the void of space. Plain and simple. The bigger body that you live on, okay, so if I were to go from Earth and go to the moon, okay, my mass gravity is now decreased. So when you see the astronauts in the spacesuits jumping on the moon, like they got superhuman strength, they can jump 5, 8, 10 feet. Okay, you can't do that on Earth because we're on a larger body. So if I went to Jupiter, I would be a puddle of mud because my mass gravity would have increased by like 2,500 times. So the
What
bigger
the fuck
body
is
that you're on,
MDLP? That's supposedly the answer to what gravity is not. I don't know.
sorry, say that again.
MDLP apparently was the reply to what brings you back down instead of gravity. So MDLP, I'm guessing, is a force, and from physics, which we're saying gravity is the force that brings you back down, and while your MDLP is the force that you are, the word that you are calling the force that brings you back down.
Right.
You're arguing one and the same. We're saying whatever force it is that brings you back down to the firmament, the land that you are on, that you live on in this reality, the force that keeps you connected to it and not able to fly away. This is what we are discussing. Okay, so whether or not you want to believe in gravity or not, okay, there's a force that we are trying to beat, that we are talking about in the physics aspect of things. And if you can't make peace with that, this stream is not for you. Sorry, please continue.
Well said. Well said. No, it's true because it's always going to be controversy. Okay, until somebody makes that big breakthrough and you can actually purchase a product that can actually show anti-gravity effects, then for after that, then to a lot of people that is real. It's something they can touch, they can actually witness. Okay, if you're a scientist or an engineer or a hobbyist at home that's trying to crack this, okay, 90% of the people out there are probably going to disagree with you. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. But, you know, as far as see, this is what it's all about. It's about innovation. It's about trying to come up with solutions to problems. It's trying to figure stuff out because as humans, we try to figure stuff out. It's just normal for us to want to do something like this. So yeah, we very well in black programs that the US have might actually have this stuff. It wouldn't surprise me for a second,
Me neither.
but
Or at
but
least know
but
about it and blocked it or destroyed it, right? Like,
well, what I think it is
find it.
there's
It's no different than the stories of like the Kincaid Cave in Smithsonian, where they went in and they dumped the majority of it at sea. Like they destroy it instead of even collecting it. It's a disgrace if those stories are true.
yeah, it's suppressed technology because the breakaway civilization on this planet doesn't want us to get it. They could be 150, 200 years ahead of us right now in technology. See, the powers to be, they've created this bubble, what we call our existence here right now that we live in, and we're not allowed to step out of this bubble. That's why they're trying to, keep us hooked on the black plague, meaning oil, right?
Yeah.
You know, see, the problem is, Tesla, he was making so many innovations. He was just taking this way too far. And look what they did to the poor guy. The guy died pretty much a homeless man and penniless. This guy should have been the richest man on the planet.
But he was
So
also a philanthropist as well, where he was half just not business minded and just gave everything away.
no,
Well, but
he,
you're
he was
right.
a
At the end, they just completely ruined him, and they destroyed his credibility as well. But
well, they tried to write him out of the history books and everything, not completely, but
oh,
they greatly marginalized what was available that he did, and which is a complete utter
they
shame.
set us back 100 years, and it's only now starting to come out and be experimented with. Really,
Yeah, it's up to the guys at home that are experimenting with this old technology might actually basically you know uh, come up with something that Tesla might have missed, or innovate
and
something that
refine it and
Tesla
advance it,
refine
right?
it.
It's like it was
Right.
only one man's work, and then it's like we have industries of like thousands, hundreds of thousands of people advancing certain ideas and technologies and discoveries these days. Like half the world would probably be working on real Tesla technology and making all sorts of insane gadgets, and like
Right.
from the crystal radio to your own radio controlled boat to your own X-ray machine to
Hmm.
like UFO to particle beam to God knows what, right? Like it's
Yeah,
just
like
man,
like Tesla even said, he goes, I'm not too worried. I'm not so worried about what people are expecting from me and what my inventions are. I'm more worried about what you guys are trying to do. Like, not just me, you guys also got to do something. Like I'll invent all the stuff I can, but my lifespan's only so long. So that means, the stuff I'm doing, you guys got to stand up and kind of carry on with it, right? And, pass the ball on, pass the torch on.
exactly.
So, yeah, there's so many angles to this, as far as I'm concerned, if you're a guy that is a little bit mechanically inclined, start doing some simple experiments, you know, and then you're going to realize, oh, gee, some of this stuff's actually starting to work. And that's how it kind of started for me. I started doing some of the Tesla stuff and the pulse motor stuff. I was getting dead batteries. I was uh, building special pulse motors where I put a dead battery on it, and then the pulse motor regenerate the battery. And I'm going, okay, this stuff's working. Like, what the fridge is going on? You know what I mean? Like, people say, "Oh, this can't be done. Oh, this can't be done." But guess what? I did
It's
it,
all a matter of
and it
perspective.
works.
Anything
And
is possible. You set your mind to it, do it. Once you do it, you have it working, you see it, you know it works because you're experiencing it. Then you understand that it's real, as opposed to 99% of the people out there that are just like, it's impossible. Thus, their reality maintains that it's impossible because they believe it's impossible and will keep that reality as the case.
that's right. So, like Bandini had the best way of saying it. He goes, you know what? Take the schoolgirl motor, okay, the SSG, okay, build it, all right? Build it exactly the way I tell you how to make it. Don't change a thing because you don't know any better yet. Build the machine exactly the way I built it, then run the machine and then watch what it's doing and learn from it. And then when you start to understand what's going on, then you could start experimenting with stuff, adding this, taking this away, adding that, or trying a different method. And that's how you evolve something. So take, say like a Tesla coil, build it exactly the way that Tesla would have made it. Because a lot of people today, they use transistors as the switching mechanism for a Tesla coil. Well, Tesla didn't have that. That's why I'm using the spark gap. Okay, the way Tesla made it.
Right?
Excuse me.
Exactly.
So, because of that, I'm getting some pretty interesting effects that you don't get when you use a MOSFET or a transistor, you'll get the high frequencies, but I get different effects when I'm using the spark gap. Sorry, I'm coughing here. I'm putting the mute on. But yeah, it's, you just have to do your own experiments and just build it exactly the way the guy said to design it in the schematics or whatever plans you get. Build it exactly the same way. Then run it and then try to figure out what's actually going on. Do your own tests with it. Then when you understand what's going on, then you can start changing the formula, right? So that's what I suggest, and I'll suggest, like, making a jewel thief circuit. That's one good project to start. It's a very simple circuit, and you can do the Bendini circuit. The SSG. That's another easy one, and your regular pulse motor. Those three. Well, the SSG and the pulse motor, they're very, very similar. But the pulse motor I started to make was one that basically took a dead battery, ran the motor, and then recharged itself. So that right there proves an over unity effect. How can a dead battery recharge itself?
Right? I know. I
Right?
know.
And I'm seeing the voltmeter climbing. I'm going, well, in most people's eyes, that meter should be going lower, but it's rising. So obviously, the coil is collapsing. You're getting the back EMF field, and it's drawing the 0 point energy into that core, and that recoil is shooting right back into the battery. So, for someone to say, oh, it's not possible, it's not possible. Well, here it is, and it's doing it. So, we're not so crazy after all. And it's, the scientific dogma, that bubble, remember we're talking about the bubble? You got to pop the bubble. If you want to innovate, pop the bubble and then innovate. Don't worry about what people are going to say about you. If you have to do it in your basement in secret, do it. You know what I mean? If you're worried about your job or whatever, or what people are going to think of you, then do it in secret then. Who cares? Do your own thing. Don't be conformed to what everybody else is preaching to you in their dogma, right?
Exactly.
So, I'm sorry to go on a rant like that, but it's 100% true because I don't know if you saw my last video. I was talking about I went to my friends in Toronto, and his brother happened to work for Ontario Hydro. And I started talking to him about the stuff, because I felt comfortable talking to him because, he's part of our friends in our bubble, that we know. So, we're talking, and I explained a few things to him. And when I told him about the monopolar one waveform, and I can light a light bulb with just a positive, you should have seen the look on his face. It was priceless. Totally priceless. He goes, how'd you do that? I said, it's what Tesla discovered at Colorado Springs, the monopolar field. So he goes, where's the ground? And I go, well, there's controversy, but it's counter space. What do you mean counter space? Fourth dimension. It doesn't exist. It's somehow grounding itself. So
I don't know if it's probably displaying on your screen there. It's a 1950s article I just pulled up that says radio waves keep airship aloft. So exactly what you're talking about on all about frequency in the anti-gravity.
that's right. Hold on one sec here. I just gotta shut something off real fast. Just bear with me for 1 second.
Wave which neuralizes the pull of gravity is the force which keeps the ship aloft. Johnson experimented for 10 years before he succeeded in discovering the principle of his anti-gravity waves. The ship can be controlled from within itself or from the ground. It was exhibited at the recent Boston Radio Exposition. Boston Radio Exposition 1956. That is a real picture of Bernie Johnson and his little, what we now would call a drone, but radio blimp that, or radio craft, not even a blimp, that was anti-gravity through radio waves. Fascinating. And you're muted, Mike.
Yeah, I'm here. Just bear with me for a second here. I just got to go outside for a quick smoke.
Yeah. Okay. So actually, I'm feeling the same thing here. So I will play a 5 or 10 minute video, and we can both go on a little short smoke break and be right back.
Okay, sounds good.
Cool, brother. We will see you in a lovely soul soon.
Okay.
Sorry, 1 second here, everyone. Oh, here we go. I'll be back in 2 minutes. We are experiencing technical difficulties. What the heck? Here we go.
To natural plant like people thought TTSA was gonna be. But you know, it's
Okay,
exciting.
so this is a video of
I'm not a
scientist
engineer
last
or
week,
scientist.
actually.
I'm actually a
and recognizing that prescribing is there an echo, or can you hear me? And to start treating humans with natural things like psilocybin and whatnot.
About its healthcare purposes, it actually is helping people to change the way that their current neurologic structure works.
You're talking about neuroplasticity.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so the serotonin network is how psilocybin operates and modulates that neuroplasticity. And it's amazing research in and of itself to think of like modulating neuroplasticity, but most importantly that it's therapeutic. And that should be appreciated, I think, foremost.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that I'm really interested in is using using psilocybin to. I would like to experiment with LSD with microdosing, but so that it's difficult to study LSD because of it's a Schedule 1 substance, and psilocybin is being criminalized and stuff. But I would like to do some research studies that utilize these substances to allow people to like learn languages faster, learn coding faster. It's a big thing right now in Silicon Valley. People that are professional programmers do microdose, taking they'll take like one dose of LSD or psilocybin and split it up into so it's an amount that you take
like that.
A subperceptual. It's like so you don't feel like you're tripping, but if you take it every day for like a month, people talk. I haven't tried this myself yet.
I wouldn't recommend every day for a month, but I know what you're saying.
Well, they say it's completely different.
Just to interrupt you, Walter, but wasn't it like the IBM computer guys or something when LSD first came out? They like locked themselves in a room and used it, and that's how they like broke some like code or something that they were having problems with.
Well, Steve Jobs famously used LSD, and the thing is that during the development of the personal computer, all of like the wizards of computer science were located on the East Coast, actually, at that time, like in the 70s. And
I don't know how we got on this drug topic. From David Wilcox to like eating mushrooms to microdosing psilocybin. I'm just gonna throw it out there. I've taken LSD and mushrooms, and I would recommend it to anyone who hasn't tried it. Just do it once. I have seen some friends of mine get sucked down.
Small amounts.
I had a friend who was afraid to try all this stuff. Actually, the guy who got me into this, my friend Matt, and I don't know what he does anymore because he just got with this rave chick, and then they were taking LSD every weekend and ecstasy and mushrooms and he's like so burnt out now. It's like
you can't do it too often, and I'd recommend Jeremy Walter there you're going to school for. If you're in like a depressional cycle that you can't beat, that's when to try just a little bit of the mushrooms or the acid, but also don't do it alone. Make sure you have like a caretaker with you. But that is what they're saying in the mental health departments for it. Trying that said, this channel does not support or recommend drug use over all sort of thing, but
clearly not. but it's interesting AF.
Yeah, I didn't mean to like sidetrack the
Yeah,
conversation.
I just don't want, like,
Yeah,
I just don't want people thinking I'm advocating drugs on this channel, that we still do not know what was in that pipe. You know?
Hey, what do you think about that whole idea of him going to Roswell? Did you
Oh
guys
yeah, the new thing. Oh yes, let's talk about this now. So Yuri Geller, Yuri Geller, I think he made a tweet. Well, I saw this on Twitter earlier. Here we go. This right here on UriGeller.com. Albert Einstein. No, this isn't it. No, it's the new. There's a new one. He says that Albert Einstein was hired to go out to the Roswell crash.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So
his assistant gives a quote unquote deathbed confession about the whole experience, and that he was extremely interested in the propulsion of the craft. There were aliens, the story goes, and his general commentary was that he was enthusiastic for the possibility of both aliens and humans to collaborate. It was very positive, Einstein's spin, from what I took from the article. But yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, he also says that he has 2 of the pipes that belong to Albert Einstein that were given to him by David Bohm. So I suppose that we could test them for traces of cannabis. But
you know, there was.
Could you imagine the controversy?
Yeah, just recently, within the last year, there was like an archaeological finding of they found this like along with this super duper old skeleton that was like tens of thousands of years old. They found this like a little bag, like a purse kind of thing with it, and it had a pipe with traces of dimethyltryptamine in it, DMT. And it looked
Oh, he's smoking ayahuasca.
yeah,
Mix a little in with my tobacco.
yeah, it was like they showed pictures of it, and it looked just like somebody's pack that they would take to like a music festival or something.
Is that the handbag and all of the statues and all of the cultures that you see?
Hey, yeah, with the pine cone in the bag, is that what's that bag he's filled with? Good point, Carl. That's hilarious.
They're handing their staff.
What were the Sumerians doing down there?
But they gotta get the butt flappers a little bit smarter, you know. They gotta give them some 30% brain expansion, you know.
That was Terrence McKenna's whole stoned ape theory.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, just now that you mentioned music
A couple
festivals,
comments I have to make on this, right? Albert Einstein was denied a security clearance in 1944, I believe.
Really?
But his assistant had to get a security clearance just to work with him and be his assistant as well.
That's crazy.
Does that have to do with his like country of origin or something? I actually don't.
Yeah, well, first off, he was German, and then he was Austrian, right? The patent office. So he was a foreigner, not born in this country during a time of war, and also he was a pacifist. So a lot of the people in the Pentagon really didn't like Albert Einstein, you know?
Yeah.
Because he was like all anti-war and all that crap that makes them tons of money, you know? So there's all that, right? So also the fact that he was at Princeton University in Princeton, New Jersey. I mean, now I know they have airplanes, and there were, you know, guys like David Craigie or these other guys that said that they were, you know, redirected and flown out, you know, to New Mexico, to the Roswell site. But you know, Alien Girl thinks that Einstein and Roswell makes total sense. You know, I'd heard that the guy that I thought would have been was John von Neumann, and you know, there was all this other talk too that people are saying, oh, Feynman and all these other guys and Wheeler, they were all brought out there, you know. And Wheeler, I said, you know, I could see Wheeler, John Archibald Wheeler, right, being one of the guys brought out there, right? But thing is with Wheeler is that he never left Princeton. And that was one of the issues I was reading when I was doing research on him and his work with Battelle, because I was like, oh, well, could Wheeler have been brought to Battelle, and it's like, no, the stuff would have had to have been brought from Battelle to Princeton to be studied by Wheeler, because Wheeler he refused to leave Hightstown, New Jersey, and he lived there until he was 96, and he hardly ever left. He didn't like to travel, didn't like to leave New Jersey, Princeton, for whatever reason. It was his little bubble. So, in any case,
Now,
yeah.
let me ask you, how
Sorry,
confident are you about the Roswell crash being from
I'm
extraterrestrial?
back.
All right. Thank
Yeah, I'm
you
gonna have to head out in about 15 minutes because it's almost 1 a.m. here. So
Oh God, yeah.
I
Sorry.
gotta get up early.
Okay, I'm
So-
gonna post the link
so-
so you can join in.
So I think people should kind of investigate what happened to the airships, because I think a lot of the UFO sightings that could be ours could be very highly advanced airships, and they're probably using electrogravitics in it. That's why you don't hear any sound.
I agree
so-
fully.
Yeah, and because an airship can lift a lot of weight. And a lot of these UFO sightings, they're saying that these things are massive in size, while an airship is massive.
Yes,
and the
they
bigger
should.
the bigger it is, the more you can carry in it. It just makes sense. So personally, I think a lot of the UFO sightings are highly advanced airships using electrogravitics and other technologies that are silent, so you don't hear them, and they can stay aloft for many, many hours, maybe days. So I think the possibilities of that is very great. So
Yeah,
now-
especially with like the going all the way back to the Sonora Air Club is where I believe
Yeah.
it all
Yeah.
began, right?
that was what, 1800s. That was
Right. And a lot of people
1800s,
don't realize that the reports of anti-gravity and these airships go back that far, even in America and Eastern, Western Europe throughout. And well, then there's like the Vihamatra and whatnot throughout
Mhm.
East India and whatnot that go back thousands of years. And well, pretty much every ancient society has stories of some sort of airship vehicle.
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely, it goes out throughout history. And I think they honestly were making airships back in those days. I think this was nothing new to them. And they might have came up with different methods of propulsion as well. But I think the anti-gravity thing was very much done with either hot air or helium or any other exotic, gaseous material that's lighter than air. So, yeah, the Vimanas, they could have been very well been airships.
Exactly, or at least some of them. And then they have the other ones with the stories of the spinning plasma Mercury, the red purple Mercury. So who really
Yeah.
knows?
Yeah, exactly. And supposedly all that was developed by the Germans, right? And the Nazis.
Well, so redeveloped by the Germans, because the stories go back in the actual Maharatra or whatnot, one of the epics or whatnot of the ancient Indians. It's literally written describing Mercury in its red purple colored state as the power source of the Vihimana.
Mhm. Yep.
So
I think right now,
forever.
and I think right now in the regular mainstream science is just there's right now this very big gap between us figuring out what anti-gravity is or just figuring out what gravity is, period. And I think Tesla was very much on the ball when it came to his gravity theory. It was never really published, but bits and pieces of it came out. Tesla's dynamic theory of gravity. So, you know, there's just so much going on. But see, the good thing is there's a lot of people working on it. There's this manifestation of knowledge being brought together in a non-dogmatic way, and that's good because now we're catching up. You know,
100%.
we're starting to catch up, and eventually we're going to get it. Eventually we're going to get it, but we just got to keep, you know, stay at the bench and keep working on it. Eventually, it's going to happen. If somebody, you know, that one guy that I've seen, he says the frequency of gravity is 2.6 million hertz, could very well be. So
Right.
people got to get on the bench and start playing with that frequency band. So maybe he's onto something, you know. So I never count anything out until you can really test it for yourself and see if you're getting the
Exactly,
same
right?
effects.
Don't write things off until you've tried it or experienced or seen it for yourself. And it's like I always try to like just conceptualize and reverse engineer something when I first see it and exposed to it and say, hey, could this model work? Could this invention, the contraption, idea, technology, whatever, is it feasible? And if so, how would it work? And then go from there.
Because I always thought, you know, there's a distinctive relationship between gravity and a frequency. I've always thought that. And so now I'm seeing some people doing experiments where they're proving that theory correct. It's a frequency. So as soon as we figure out what exactly that frequency is and replicate it, then you'll start to see magic happen, right?
100%.
So as far as like gravity, because gravity is so how can I say, it's so spread out, you know, and the only way you feel the effects of gravity is when our bodies are next to a large body, right? There's a attraction, there's a push. You know, this guy is saying it goes both ways. It's also a push and a pull. So that I'm not too clear on his theories on that, but he believes that it's push and a pull that are happening, and when you flip the actual field, you can basically reverse, you know, the pushing down effect now to a pushing effect. So now it's like taking two magnets with the same poles. They're pushing away from each other. So if you can make yourself positive and then the ground is positive, and then it would push off, right? It would be reflected from each other. You know, if we could figure out how to do that, sure, the anti-gravity effect would definitely be possible that way. But I truly believe it's, you know, it has to do a lot with the frequency. As soon as we figure out the frequency, then, you know, we can do the experiments and see what the effects are overall. So I think just everybody's got to get on the table and just start playing with this stuff, you know. It's one thing to talk about it, but to actually get on the table and actually do it. It's, you know, anti-gravity is not my thing. I'm working on the energy stuff, but energy definitely has its place. You know, gravity and energy and frequency, they're all together. They're all related in one way, shape, or form. So that's my view anyway.
I agree fully with your view. I mean, I feel like I'm on the tip of something that involves it involves extending the human life with frequency, and I feel like I'm on the verge of something. I just don't have a way of powering it at the moment. I'm still trying to fully understand the electrical side of stuff through you guys mostly, but I've been used to using different coils at 300 kilohertz for healing and stuff like that.
Right.
And that's sort of where I am at the part of it. But I do you know the Kenny Wheeler?
Yeah, Ken Wheeler. Yep.
Yeah. I've been learning a lot from him too, and he got me onto something the other night with a video he made, and it sent me down a new rabbit hole. So I'm still learning
For sure.
about the precession of crap, I forget what it's called.
The collapsing fields you're talking about, or
1 second, let me pull it up. I got it bookmarked on my phone here real fast. It was a paper that someone did based on Ken Wheeler's work, and it quoted it a lot. I just not sure where I have it here.
is this
It had to do. Go ahead.
Does it have to do with the healing aspects of it?
No. It's more about the free energy aspects. I just
Right.
I forget where I'm at in my learning process here. Lamore frequency, learning about that, and crap, I forget the other part of it.
Yeah. See, the energy is you have to. Well, you're working with coils, so that's good because. See, I look at a coil a different way. A lot of people look at a coil as, coil wire with a core. I look at a coil or an induction coil as an energy pump. It's a pump. So what you're doing is you're creating an electromagnetic field in that space. So when you cut the power off, gravity and time space makes that field collapse on itself. When you get that collapsing effect, that's where the 0 point energy is. Because you're not putting power into it anymore. You're now taking advantage of the collapsing field, which is ultimately affected by gravity. So here we go again. Now we're crossing into different areas. So when you got the collapsing field, they call it back EMF, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the collapsing of the 0 point field, which is basically gravity pushing it back into itself. It's a collapsing effect. And that's why we call it a pump, because you're pumping power out and that power stays there. And when you cut the power off, now gravity and electromagnetic flux is now collapsing on itself. Well, for it to collapse on itself, it has to be a force there. That force could either be 0 point energy, it could be gravity, it could be both.
Right.
So that's where the free energy comes from. So when you start playing with the frequencies, you're going to notice huge gains in your power output. That's when you grab it and you hold it and you use it for something else or redirect it into another system or a capacitor, a battery bank or whatever. That's why I was making these pulse motors, running it with a dead battery, and then 20 minutes later the battery is fully charged again.
Wow. Yeah, I'll show you the device I'm using here. I got this from Russia. It's just basically PEMF, and I have a couple different coils here. This is another one they had that's more widespread, and I also have what is his name? I have I'm bad with names. The guy that famous nowadays does the whole coil thing. Everyone thinks
the rodent
rodent
coils?
coil. Yeah. I got one of those hooked up to a function signal generator upstairs, and I've been messing with that a lot too, with the solfeggio frequencies and stuff.
Right. See, with the coils, what you have to understand too. Okay, when you start pulsing a coil at very high frequency, so what happens now? Usually, when you create electromagnetic field, that flux is stuck within itself because you got the metal core. See, the metal core absorbs that electromagnetic flux. So when you get a metal core, you wrap it with wire, you put power to it, you get electromagnet, basically, right? So when you shut the power off, you're going to get the back EMF, but you're not getting the full potential of it because the flux is confined to that core. So what Tesla was doing, his Tesla coils don't have a core. So
I have a. Oh, go ahead.
Just showing some of the coils I've made in the capacitors.
Yeah,
These are all
see,
of the Keshi style.
yeah, yeah.
But
So when you start playing with the Tesla coils, so because it doesn't have a cord, now that flux can travel, and that's how you get your wireless power, right? So you're not
can you
confined.
explain that
It-
again? That is a very crucial part you're talking about right here.
Yeah, yeah. The second you introduce the core to the equation, the flux cannot travel. So I got an EM meter. It's a little hand meter. So if anything's giving off electromagnetic field, the thing starts beeping. So I have a toroid coil with a coil wire around it. I energized it, and that beep will not go off. But the second put it beside the Tesla coil, it goes crazy. It's because the flux is confined to that core. It won't let it go. It's absorbed in that core. So that's how the modern day transformers work. They're confining all that in. And really, to this day, nobody knows how a transformer actually works. But my theory, I think, is pretty correct. It has to do with the frequency. Bernie had a good analogy of it having two tuning forks. You ring one, the other tuning fork rings exactly the same. As long as those two coils are in resonant frequency with each other, they will transfer power. Even with the core, it's because it's working on a vibration.
Yeah.
I
So
didn't really think about
I
that
almost
deeply.
the vibe. Well, no, because
It's a vibration. It's a vibration. The frequency creates the
I was
vibration.
about to say vibration is resonance, but no, it's frequency is electric or light, and then vibration is magnetic or sound, and then resonance is a combination of the two.
Yeah, because see, the reason why I say it's a frequency is because the core that the transformer is using, it absorbs about 98% of the flux. Okay, so if this is correct, only about 2 to 3% of that flux will reach the secondary winding in a transformer. So therefore, where is it getting all this power? Well, if I'm thinking, just a common sense, it has to be talking to each other through a frequency. That's how it's able to ring the secondary coil and give you the great gains or step downs, whatever you set it up to be. So I think Tesla writes about frequency so much in his writings that is available. It's energy, frequency, vibration. Those three
Right.
things.
Right, and
If you
it's
keep that,
I feel that it's a 369 proportion to those three factors.
yep, and I think the 369 is represented by energy, frequency, vibration. Okay, so if you keep that always in the back of your mind when you're working with the coils and you're trying to get free energy out of it, always think about the energy input, the frequency that you're putting into it, and what kind of a vibration it's making. And if you keep that in the back of your head, it's going to help you create better, results. So
Yeah, I'm very self-taught myself. Like, so I'm still learning things like the paper by Ken Wheeler I was reading was Definitions of Nature and Its Phenomena with a Primer on Cosmology and Ontology. And I was kind of...
By the way,
what was that?
those are by no means an easy read. Do you know who he's referring to, Mike, when he's talking Ken Wheeler?
Yeah, Ken Wheeler. Yeah.
Theory of Hypothesis, the tattooed monkey on YouTube. Very good. He fully grasps the dielectric magnetic torus connections and does very good videos and experiments with ferrocells and showing how magnetic fields interact in torus fields and whatnot. But he's also a magnetic force maximalist, so he excludes a lot of the other connecting sciences, dimensions, and mathematics, and that's where I find he hits like a block a lot of times. But
yeah, because with
the field, amazing work. I recommend it to all.
See, like the Rodin coil has a lot of advantages, but if you're talking about, say, like doing, say, wireless transmission of power, the rodent coil is not your answer, because the way the rodent coil is designed.
I gotta pause you. Gotta pause you. Daniel Nunez YouTube channel, One Stop Energies. Dan and his wife, they created the PoE vortex coil, which is more advanced rodent coil, but then they've also connected it to full metal spheres for the wireless transfer. So they've created the circuit as well as their transmitters. So
yeah, because
overcome that and combined it with a couple other technologies.
Yeah, because the way the rodent coil is designed, it confines the electromagnetic field to the shape of the torus. Okay, so in order to transmit that, you have to give it a medium to do so. Because you've created that field, all the flux is locked in that space, right? So with the Tesla coil, because it's not a closed loop field, it's allowed to radiate out. And that's why it's a lot easier with a Tesla coil to do wireless transmission.
Is it possible to make like a version of 3 of those coils, like I don't know how to explain it, like sort of as one?
Oh, absolutely. That's actually a key part to a lot of coil generator systems, is to actually have 3 coils within a circuit in the generating aspect of it. But their position and windings are very important. But that is how you get an amplifying effect through possible induction and pulse, like pulse motor, like pulsing the resonance of that. Setup.
Anyways, Bernie, I do got to head out. It's after 1 a.m.
Right?
here, so I got to get up at 7 tomorrow. So
most definitely, I understand you got to work as always, and I greatly appreciate it, Mike. I'm sorry about
chat with your friend again soon, and
Yes, Aaron and Mike. As well, Mike, I'll be emailing you here, and I should set up if your Saturday is free this week. In the evening time or after. No, it should be early evening for you. That if you can put together like a 30-minute presentation of just like a few slides, as well as like being able to do the demonstration of your double spark gap Don Smith. And then what you've done with the end motor and the pulse motor and whatnot, or end machine and pulse motors for APEC, right? Alternative Propulsion Engineering Conference. I'll talk to Tim Ventura and confirm an actual presentation time for you at the end of it, if this weekend works for you. If not, we can do 2 Saturdays from next Saturday. So 3 weeks.
Yeah, I'll be building these new coils hopefully soon. I got to get my 3D printer running. I moved not too long ago, so I'll probably have to recalibrate everything. So as soon as I get that up and running, I'll be doing some printing. So, and hopefully get these coils made. The coils I've been working with are just way too small. So I'm going to step it up a notch with larger coils to get better effects with it. So
I gotta give a shout out to Kenneth Bishop here. That is Ominous, the beatboxer. He's currently watching us live right now. So Ken, with Mike here, what I'm talking about next Saturday in the evening, if you are as free as well, that is the Science of Sound stream that we were talking about doing together. So Mike, we will hopefully have you on Saturday and get you in with APEC and do it all into one good thing.
All right, sounds good. I'll see you guys later. And we'll chat soon. Okay, man. Take care. Have a good night.
Well,
bye.
Always a pleasure.
Bye.
Bye.
So for everyone out there watching, if you are unaware, Mike has his own YouTube channel called Faraday Research something. I'm just looking it up right now, and I will post a link in the descriptions here. Aaron, do you want to tell us more about what you're working on, my friend?
All right, yeah. Well, I have this, what I had earlier, little model Tesla coil I got from AliExpress for like $10. It was just cheap. But beyond that, I've been kind of working on healing using different coils at the 300 kilohertz frequency, which is, I guess these are based on mission or machine. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Design. He's out of Russia, and I have two different types of coils here. There's one that's kind of a flat, like it will do large scale, but not like not penetrate deeply, like be through the skin, things like that. And this one is like for your organs and different things like that. It's just more concentrated of a field, and it's what helped help my mom be able to walk like the day after her hip replacement. She's 72, and let's see. What I was motivated based off of this. I'm working on an idea, still formulating the idea. And why I was talking about Uncle Kenny Wheeler there a little bit ago is because I had saw his recent video where he admitted that free energy is possible finally. And something he said there made me have to start doing some research. And
Okay,
I
I
read,
have not seen that one yet. I guess I missed that one, so I'm gonna have to definitely watch that after this stream, and I will stop being so hard on good old Mr. Wheeler, because I was like, and
yeah, the whole
hassled the shite out of him on his own live streams in the chats, and it's like, okay, fart jokes and like bald jokes and just giggling and talking about leather work. Come on, man, let's do some real fucking physics here, brother. And like, I'm like, I could get you on APEC. Like, we could get you all these discussions. Like, oh, I don't want to pay to travel for some free conference. I'm like, it's no different than what you're doing right now, sitting on your couch. You don't have to go anywhere, can like. Last week I even offered to give him like $500 in free crypto if he would go on APEC, and he like just brushed it off. Like, I'm freaking offering you to pay you money to go on APEC that I benefit nothing of. It's not even my freaking conference. Like, anyways, I will let you continue.
all right. Well, something he said during that video just motivated me to make me realize I need to learn more like about the Lamore frequency and a couple other things he talked about on there. But what I learned after starting to read on that is what I was missing out. Well, I feel like I'm missing that only as far as the comprehension goes for me to completely conceptualize a device that would extend life using basically the body's natural processes. And I feel like that the devolution of humanity has been mostly due to our environment and the truth about most things being kept from us. So I feel like the answer is already in my head. Like I got a moon download or something. I don't know, but I just keep getting closer and closer, and then I'll have flashes of the final product or concepts that I don't know where they came from. And so I'm kind of filling in the blanks right now, and I feel like I'm getting closer and closer.
That is always a great step. I've always also had those like visualizations in the mind. Me specifically, when I get really stoned on pot for some reason, is when I get those Tesla like visions of like the engineered project or like the science experiments to do in your own head. And Mike, that was just on with us, he often talks about how when he drinks a lot of his structured charged water, that he gets these same engineering visions, and you conceptualize it within your own mind. It just like appears to you sometimes, where it's like you connect to like source consciousness and it just comes in
For
all at
real.
once. And there's just certain minds. I believe anybody has the possibility of getting to that state where they can experience this and do this. You don't have to be a genius, but we are all geniuses, right? It's just believing in yourself and getting it done. And
yeah, know thyself is a big thing.
Be our own Nikola Teslas and have our own Nikola Tesla like visions of how to like, don't be like, I could never build that. Oh, I'm too stupid. Blah. No. You just know you can, believe in yourself, and the universe will literally provide your brain with the visions of the instructions of how to do it. Like,
Definitely.
you limit yourself with believing that it's impossible, and that is the law of attraction at its finest.
Oh, certainly. And by the way, these are airsoft, less than lethal guns behind me, if anyone's wondering.
Yeah,
This one
definitely
fires
have,
arrows, by the way.
I guess you're American. I don't know. I don't know what the rules are down there. In Canada, if I had like a bunch of video, or if I had anything replica looking like
This one's
semi-automatic
actually made by Sig Sauer.
behind me, I would be getting raided by the SWAT team right now.
Yeah,
So
it's all airsoft. That's why I figured I would let people know.
perfect. Aaron is all about airsoft, not real killing, just training for self-defense and survival. Correct? And
Oh
fun and
yeah,
games.
that, and I air quoted the less than lethal because like I got slugs and stuff for the airsoft shotgun, and yeah, worse. Yeah, airsoft is the way to go, I think, for home defense. And I got these little plastic balls that you can fill with like Reaper pepper, ghost pepper, stuff like that. Make a little concoction that, you know, like the cops use in their paintball guns they like to shoot people in the face with. So let's see, I'm not even like,
You say shoot people in the face with? Come on.
yeah, I was at the Gathering of the Juggalos in both Toledo and
I do not
let's see.
condone shooting people in the face with paintball or non-paintball.
Well, yeah, the cops caused a riot because some girl was flashing everyone, and he bounced her head off a wall. There was 10,000 of us yelling at the police, you know, like all around, like, and he was trapped in a corner, so he called for backup, and the entire riot squad of Toledo came in on horseback and shit into a convention center. We're hitting people in the head with clubs and like shooting people in the face with fully automatic paintball guns and with the mace balls and stuff. It was crazy, but
Oh
because
my!
of that, like the gathering's not
I have
allowed to be back in a convention center.
I have not been watching TV lately, and I am up in sheltered northern Canada. Well, it's southern Canada, but northern North America, and no such things have happened in my city or anywhere around. I forget that that's actually real life for a lot of you
Oh,
lovely souls
this was
out there.
2001 in Toledo,
Dealing with
Ohio.
crazy breakdown of reality or of civil society that is happening on so many levels in so many places right now. Although it's good to see that where things are getting most totalitarian in practice, that there is an equal pushback by the people. It's horrible to see that things are getting to this level, but it's good to see that people aren't accepting it and not allowing it to happen.
Yeah, actually, here in West Virginia, there's not a lot like out of the ordinary. I mean, we hardly have had the mask mandates even, and the lockdowns no one took seriously. Everyone just, we had parties in the middle of the nights in the streets celebrating COVID.
That's a
I don't
dirty
know.
word. That's a dirty word.
Yeah.
Back to some science stuff, though. This right here, I got to rebuild it because it's a little damaged, but it is a tetrahedron. It's copper, like each little groove thing is copper wire that I wrapped, connected around a 3D modeled tetrahedron, and then wrapped tinfoil around it. Before it was broken, but I'll put new tinfoil around it. Literally, you hold it in your right hand, and it feels like it is burning your skin. I've done it to probably 25 different people before I damaged it and whatnot. Only 2 never felt it, and they were extremely drunk. But every other single person, I'd just be like, here, hold this. And they'd be like, oh, what the hell? Like, like no suggestion that it's going to heat up or giving the idea that anything's going to come of it. Just actual experience that this tinfoil shaped geometry with copper actually amplifies either electrical or heat energy and then concentrates it at the very base of the pyramid from the top. And just it's crazy. And I'm definitely going to have to make a couple more of them
I have to play around with that.
demonstrate. Yeah, and I suggest that people, you do try this at home. Let's see if I can take it apart a little bit to show. Or I'll just, for all of you lovely souls watching right now, so you can do this at home. I'm destroying my great project just so it can be remade better and you guys can do it too. All right, so there we go. We see there. So it's like just copper triangles over triangles over triangles. Oh no! Oh, I need better.
All right.
There we go. It's starting to focus.
Yeah, I see what you got going on.
There we go. Now we can really see it. And so it was just connecting triangles within triangles in a tetrahedron shape, and then wrapping it with one connected sheet of tinfoil without any breaks in it, and you will collect and feel energy. And what really is fascinating, and I found out after making it, is it's the exact same shape as some of the U.S. Navy and older U.S. Navy and Soviet era radar aerial or antennas. They're actual antennas. Their radar antennas are made of copper in tetrahedron shapes. So it's geometry amplifying and collecting energy yet again. And as IG86 Centennial Droid points out, Metatron's cube is also great. And yeah, Metatron's cube is essentially two of these tetrahedrons put into each other, thus exponentially multiplying the power of this tetrahedron into a super form shape that the Resonance Project, Nassim Haramein and what has done massive amounts of work in showing that the tetrahedron tetragrammaton Metatron's cube, also known as the tetragrammatron, it's more complex. Anyways, that shape is essentially the shape of the geometry or the fractal geometry of the holographic universe. It's how the shape of how energy folds into itself into higher dimensions within the universe and then transfers information and energy throughout itself simultaneously. So it is an extremely powerful geometry, and thus also why it was so revered in ancient cultures. We are only finally beginning to understand it. And
Yeah,
yes,
that actually reminds me of what I was trying to tie into my sink whenever I built it. I built all of what I just showed on the screen there by hand, like from scratch. And I was trying to do a lot of different geometries, and I have a jade stone pyramid. Hold on, let me see if I can get it to where y'all can see it. There's like a jade pyramid right there. And then there's another one that's lucite with different stones in it. But I have certain geometric angles in all of it. Like I used resin that is acrylic modified polyester resin to build the majority of that, and I used all natural stones and quartzes and stuff like that. I don't know. I feel like the way I positioned everything in the water lines under coming through, I'm hoping that it generates, when I'm completely finished, some sort of energy that's positive throughout the bathroom. I don't know. I just been trying to incorporate that in everything I've been building lately, like different properties from the pre-reset world, I guess.
exactly. And yeah, like it's for those who have not been exposed to or following all of our channel's works and research over especially Autodidactics over the years, and also Rex Leak Project, Michelle Gibson's, and all the other beautiful souls Martin Liedtke, and John Levi in particular's works, showing just astounding evidence over and over and over again of resets that keep happening, and that there's many times humanity has probably been much more advanced, developed, and built over in a global civilization, and then completely wiped out by resets. The most recent one could have been as short as only a couple of hundred years ago, maybe 400 or 500 tops. And then that's how the Anglo-Saxon Zionist Catholicist empire has taken over and destroyed and created the current slave state totalitarian dictatorship that we live under, and wiped out the true history, mostly known as what seems to be Tartaria, existing as a global, worldwide seafaring civilization only a few hundred years ago. Well, global-wise, maybe 400 or 500 years ago, before the last reset, where it was actually the empire that completely controlled and was settled all over the world, kind of like the global civilization that we are right now, and then turned into a fractured empire, who knows, and then slowly got disintegrated and destroyed by the current parasitic elites that control our world today.
Yeah, I was under the impression that the Tartarian Empire might have been around like until the 79 AD Vesuvius reset. In that time, that's what I had been, I don't know, kind of thinking.
Well,
But-
because it's like, literally, Tartaria shows up as Siberia in its smallest territorial amount in all the maps as recent as 1880, I believe, maybe even right up to World War I, if anyone can find it. But it's in the also in all the not the thesaurus, the encyclopedias that are actually printed and whatnot. And it's like in school, we are taught how Siberia, and I'm half Russian as well, so, or Russian parents in Canada, descendants, so I'm extra known on mainstream Russian heritage. And it's like Siberia was this undeveloped area. And then it's like, actually, it was occupied by an empire with its own flag, its own land, its own castles on every single map from the 1800s all the way back through before the 1800s. Any map anywhere in the world had Tartaria on it, basically. And it's that it got shrunk and shrunk and shrunk, and before the 1700s, and especially before the 1600s, Tartaria was also listed as China, as Asia, as the Orient, as well as North America, the northern part of North America. And I've even seen one that had South America co-sketched saying Tartaria on it from one of the earliest, what was maybe Mercator, the maps that also have the 4 islands up top with the hole in the earth, center of the earth. But it's that there's on these maps, there's castle spots and cities just as big as London, Detroit, Tokyo, anywhere in the world, Beijing, Hong Kong, big cities that existed throughout ancient time, just as big on the maps as these other cities and castles that are depicted in the Tartaria, that we were told didn't exist. There was no civilization there. There was no one living there. And now when you go in these same spots on Google Earth, it's just giant craters looking like something was nuked. So, like,
wasn't Genghis Khan a Tartarian king?
Sorry?
Wasn't Genghis Khan a Tartarian king?
Most less likely, all signs are pointing to the story of Genghis Khan being somewhat legitimate in he was some sort of Tartarian ruler, yes.
Yeah, I remember a guy telling a story about Genghis Khan and how, I don't remember whether it's Marco Polo or one of the other explorers around the time, he had a whole, like, white guy story for him and all this other stuff. And the story that this person, I forget what channel, was telling was straight out of a book, and he was doing kind of the English like rendition of it, and it matched up entirely with the Asian rendition, and like of him being called Genghis Khan. And I don't know, that story blew my mind.
Right, there's all sorts, and there's apparently stories of King Arthur actually being in either Friesland or North America as well. And now we have Solomon's Temple in the pyramid complex of the Grand Canyon. So
Yes.
there's also the Ottoman Amphitheater, the Temple of Jupiter, Rama's Temple, Brishna's Temple, pretty much any world seafaring empire from the past, their religious deity Isis temple. Every single one has their massive Apollo temple. All of these temples are different peaks that are pyramids in the Grand Canyon, and it's ridiculous.
About
So
a decade ago, I had read a book about Cleopatra's son, and all the Egyptians, apparently with the other world rulers, had been traveling to America to mine for copper or whatever else, and as a vacation spot no one knew about except for the royals around the world. And that Cleopatra and what's his face's son like actually escaped here, and he might have been like the story for Jesus and all that and going to America, but his son actually escaped here and started one of the white tribes here in North America, I guess.
and there was
I don't
African
remember which
tribes,
one.
Asian tribes. There, I honestly think that most of the world was probably the multicultural living sort of situation that we are still experiencing to this day. Like how there's a Chinatown in every single major capital city of the world, there probably has been throughout the entire history, only it used to be called Orient Tartaria Town as opposed to Chinatown. But there's probably also Greek Town and Italy Town and
Right.
everything else, right? Sorry, so we're getting the comment, the Great Wall of Tartaria being the Mongolian Empire, thus the Great Wall of China. But no, there's actually the Great Wall of Tartaria. It's not talked about at all. It crosses from the Black Sea completely across all of Ukraine and then all of Siberia as well. It's probably about 3 times the size of the Great Wall of China. And literally every 2 kilometers, it has a buried star fort on it. And you can see it from Google Earth. It is the largest human-made structure in the world. It also proves that star forts are the story on bastion forts is complete bullshit, and star forts are the history is completely unknown because there's the biggest man-made wall, including probably over 1,000 star forts in it that are buried and destroyed, that has no lore, no story, no history at all, and is not even acknowledged, yet it's there in plain sight. So if
I
you've not
believe the Giants did it.
heard about that, Olaf the Slurker channel on YouTube does a very good video on it, and I'm going to be doing another one very soon. Also, the green glass that was asked if it was in the United Emirates in regards to like old nuclear blasts or heat
Or
blasts.
micronovas.
Or micronovas, yes, right? There's a lot of different plasma reactions that will create that quartzite into glass reaction. And there's some major ones in Egypt, some major ones in India, in Pakistan, throughout the ancient Indus Valley there. I also believe some through ancient Babylonia, Sumeria, but pretty much all over the world, and in a lot of deserts where there hasn't been, time is kind of frozen, geology isn't able, water isn't able to come in, life isn't able to grow over, and you still see it up on the top of whatever, whether it was nukes that went off, whether it was asteroid impacts, but just evidence everywhere of crazy, crazy things. And I'm willing to bet in a lot of these previous Tartarian cities on the ancient maps, the current sites, probably do have a lot of that glass around it, and that would be a good evidence of showing or providing some actual physical evidence that there were cities that got wiped out in a realm, a empire that got wiped out by advanced weaponry not too long ago.
Yeah, I saw how a lot of them had the same size craters in and around them over there in southern Russia, places like that, Ukraine.
Northern Russia, but possibly southern too, on the like Black Sea area, was it, or Georgia area, or
Yeah,
Caspian?
Azerbaijan.
Okay, Azerbaijan. Okay, so yeah, Central Asia area of Russia, Siberia, and then it's the entire northern coastline of Siberia, as well as Africa, or not Africa, Alaska, as well as the Yukon and the Northwest Territories of Canada on the half that is, I think it's the Northwest Territories, yeah, because the more eastern side now is none of it, because they wanted none of it. Sorry. But yeah, that entire coastline is just like, I think John Levi did a very short video on it. Michelle Gibson might have touched on it, but I'm going to do another episode with her on it. But the entire northern coastlines look like they are man-made, intelligently designed, huge brickwork. Shout out to Paul Cook, because he just did crazy videos on how all of the UK islands are like that. And I'm going to be doing a stream with Paul again right
Dude,
away.
I feel like it's that way in America too. I've noticed a lot of stuff since I saw that video.
It really, really is. Dustin Berserker Bear, as well as John Levi, Michelle Gibson are all doing a lot of work on showing that with the canal systems. And I've seen some videos that like the actual ocean barrier dikes on the East Coast are these megalithic blocks of like broken up Viking king heads and stuff like that, which is just ridiculous. Wow. Of like, okay, what were these
You froze up. Or it might have been me. I don't think so, though. Yeah, I think you froze up, Burn. Well, I guess it's just us for a second. Bernie's having technical difficulties. But yes, I was in Baltimore, Maryland at the Fort McHenry there, and they had megalithic stones, and I just felt like only a giant could have probably built that place, because it's a star fort. I didn't realize it because I was like, I don't know, 12 or 13 at the time whenever I went, but I just remember thinking this place is way more ancient than it should be by any means, and it couldn't have been built by humans with the megalithic blocks that were at the base, and it was right on the ocean part of it. And I was thinking, no, we couldn't build this today. So let's see, glass beaches.
Hey, I'm back.
Hey, there you are.
I will let you keep talking, though. I'm going to be watching on my phone. I'm just going out for a smoke.
All right. So, I don't know. I have done studies showing the dark side of the moon is dark because the melt glass on it's all like black, and supposedly, according to Douglas Vogt on the oh crap, brain fart. I can't remember the name of his project right now. Diehold Foundation. My bad. According to him, a lot of the melt glass and stuff around the Asian and African area is because the last micronova would have hit around that area, and from the way it's seeming, I think the same places are going to get it again, but that's at least 20 years away, and if at all. But the dust has entered the galaxy, according to Suspicious Observers channel. So as soon as the sun absorbs all that, according to Douglas Votes theories and Suspicious Observers, we're counting down to the micronova. But that's neither here nor there. I'm not worried about it at the moment. Let's see here. Anyone have any questions? Yeah, airsoft. But not a super fail regarding the dark side of the moon, because there's been different scientists that have got melt glass from the other side of the moon, including Douglas Vogt, to prove that it was in fact from the sun. It was done by the sun. Lethal Alchemist. Now, they're all just home defense stuff, but I mean, you would say there was lethal aspects of it if you saw the ammunition, which I could actually show you guys. This is for the double barrel paintball gun, technically. Yeah, that'll go through like a 1/4-inch piece of plywood. Oh, goodness. Guide me, Bernie. I need a subject.
Okay, talk about the helium-3 or the helium miners and their 5G, as well as what the deal is with them, and then also talk about the Reiki energy healing that you do. And I will be listening, and then we will discuss crypto as well as Reiki energy healing and energy healing in general when I get back from my smoke.
All right. Well, I wasn't a full believer in Reiki being more than the power of suggestion for a good while of practicing it. I got all the way to the master and teacher level, and there was this point where a friend of mine, he had a golf ball sized brain cancer or tumor in his head, and it was making him lose consciousness several times a day. And I called up my buddy who was taught under one of the most famous Dons in the Andes Mountains. I forget the Don's name, but he was an Andean shaman, full blown, lived down there with him for a long time. And I called him up and asked if there's anything we could do. He suggested something called a hand washing or a head washing ceremony. And the two roommates that the shaman buddy of mine had were Reiki master and teacher as well. And so there was like 3 other people here at my house whenever we came for day 1. They just happened to be here. So we attuned them all to the first degree of Reiki. And we proceeded on there was 2 moons, 1 month, exactly 1 month away. And we did the ceremony on each of those days. And everyone with the pure power of will and, just basically focusing on generating energy within their body and transferring it to them, while my buddy Zane, the shaman, he actually did the ceremony. And I mean, it was 2 weeks after we did the second ceremony that he went to his doctor. And the reaction on the doctor's face when he looked at the charts, he was just saying, and dropped the notepad. It was mind blowing. I went with him to the appointment just to see how it was going, because this is a good friend of mine. And he just couldn't believe it. He said tumors do not just shrink without intervention whatsoever. And he just seemed stunned, talking really slowly. He's like, we can actually operate on this tumor now, because it was smaller than the size of a pea, and from a golf ball size. And like, we already known like the result pretty much. Like, it actually went he never had it operated on. It went benign, and it doesn't affect him anymore to this day. And like, he still thanks me every time he sees me. But like, that's what made me a true believer. And I just can't get over that incident. But like, my mom has always done stuff like Touch for Health, EFT. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but let's see. as far as more the healing goes, I did have a Kirlian photograph done to my hand one time, and prior to Reiki, I don't know what it was, but after being attuned, I think I was at the 2nd degree at the time. It was like 2004, and the energy coming off my hands was like this. And I mean, other people started being able to feel my hand putting off a slight electrostatic, like kind of tingle and whatnot. And like whenever I'd concentrate, and I wouldn't even tell them what I'd be doing, you know, just to kind of test it. But I thought maybe it was just suggestion, even though I didn't come out and vocally suggest anything, because I'd be asking them if they felt a certain thing or whatever. And oh goodness, something that actually boosted my ability to heal, which I think anyone can do it even without attunement. It's like I've had it proven to me by, you know, the people that sit there and in groups and they kind of manifest UFOs like in big groups and want to see them. I have seen that in a way that spoon bending. We used to do it every year out at the local college, where we get in these group of people and spoon bend. And if no one in the circle had ever been a participant in spoon bending before, it would never work. But you have just one person that truly believes it's possible, that's seen it happen before in that circle of people, then everyone's spoon will bend every time. And how powerful you are and how good you are at directing your energy and concentration and focus of will is how much the spoon will bend. But that's why I believe that basically we have the spirit of divinity within. We co-create reality in a way that together, like faces on the diamond, like say if that diamond is source or creator, and every living thing would be a face on that diamond. That's why they want us separate right now in these times, so that we don't have the power that we, you know, could collectively. They don't want us together. And I the spoon bending concept and people being able to collectively summon, you know, UFOs at their leisure, it seems, is why I believe that together we can manifest every aspect of reality. And that's why everything seems like a simulation or the Matrix right now, because we're actually changing it in real time because more and more people are waking up. And I think we're so close to hitting critical mass if we haven't hit it technically already. I mean, it's something that I've I was born into this sort of mindset in a way, because in West Virginia, everyone's, you know, pagan, Germanic, like in descent, and well, not everyone, but a lot of people, and Irish with the Teo or the Tuatha De Danann and stuff like that, and you know, our history's fairy tales and stuff like that. It's hard to live in my area of West Virginia and not really, you know, be born into some sort of thing like that, being told magic's real, don't believe anyone else, you know, because it's real, like sort of thing your whole life. You just sort of, even if you're born in a Christian, you know, upbringing, like you still have that mindset, like things are possible. And it's harder when you get older, but I don't know. I've had one of those lives that if I told you every aspect of it, you would think I was full of it because it sounds like a movie or something. But that's why I usually travel in groups, so I have witnesses. But anyway, um, um, but it's I truly believe that all of us collectively have the power to make this world whatever we want. That's why, um, right now, the majority only believe the Earth is a globe because that's the way we perceive it. And I believe if the flat Earth thing went like critical mass with, you know, the amount of people in the world, then maybe it would somehow get proven, like beyond the shadow of a doubt to everyone, and that would be the reality. But I don't believe that that's the way it is, just because the majority of the people on the planet don't see it that way. And that's, you never know, it could be the reality. I think that's how timelines change. I don't believe in the actual timelines being timelines, but Like, I believe that's why people perceive timelines and why it seems like we're changing paradigms on the regular. And I have actually banished demons. Like, when I was a practicing minister for about 12 years, and I did run across the Christian Whistleblower channel and Jeffrey Daugherty, and he had me thinking he could call out or cast out demons in the name of his dog. So I actually tried that, with the belief that we have that a little tiny piece of God within all of us, or creator spirit, whatever you want to term it. And with that belief and seeing that it was possible, I tested it. And I mean, I don't know for sure this person was possessed, but the saying my dog's name, which happens to be Anubis, maybe because it's the name of power that I believe in, it had the same effect. So that's why I see, as long as you believe in whatever wholeheartedly, I don't think it matters, because we have the true power within us. And that the biggest lie ever told to humanity was that we were born with original sin, when in actuality we have the spirit of divinity within. And the problem right now with the world is everyone's sitting on their butts waiting for a savior, when your savior is right there. We just need to get together and unite, and that's what they're afraid of. That's what they're afraid of through and through. But as far as helium mining goes, let's see. I just recently found out it runs on 5G, which kind of bothered me when it comes to the fact I'll be having a giant antenna on my house. But I don't know. You want to pick up from there, Bernie?
Sorry, of course, my other laptop, Microsoft just decides to start doing an update install and crash everything while I'm live streaming. Like, that's
I
why
understand.
I got to. What you were saying, though, I was listening on my phone. It was absolutely beautiful. It's bang on, and I've experienced a very similar path in my own journey in life. That my mom has her whole life, or my whole life, experienced and claimed to be like a medium, and then the last like 15, at least 20 years, maybe probably longer. Who I should clarify that with. Sorry, Mom. Also, an energy healer. And I was always like, man, my mom's so crazy. Like, what the hell is she going on about? And she always said that she would know when my grandfather had died, who I never met him. He was estranged from my mom's entire family. I think when she was like 6 or 8 years old, and never heard from him again. And that she said she'd know because he'd come visit her once he had passed. And sure enough, it was like 2000, 2003 or something, that around Christmas, that my mom's like, yeah, my father died. I went to a medium group, and he came to talk to me. And then she like applied to the government and got the military death records were released to her, because I was finally allowed to, because he had just died. And sure enough, he just passed. And the craziest part was that she also had a second half family, or of siblings of the father had another 3 daughters, or 2 daughters and 2 sons or something. And that my mom and I now had a half second aunt named Kelly, a second aunt named Sherry, and a second uncle, I think, named Randy, which were like all the names that my mom's brothers and sisters are. So she's now got like 2 of each brother and sister that live in a city even closer to us than my other aunts and uncles of the same name that I do know. So that was pretty trippy. And then the energy healing she claimed she could do remotely. And I was like, okay, this is just impossible, until my dog got my first dog, Tito. At the age of 12, he got a massive brain or like just cancer tumor in his snout to the point of out of his nose and stuff. The vets gave him a month to live, and then my mom started working on him, apparently from afar. And the next time that I was around her with my dog, he like acted completely different. Like it just like ran up to her and like started brushing himself against her, like as if showing gratitude and acknowledgement that this was happening. And ended up surviving another 2.5 years with my mom continuously doing that. So it's like there's these things that you just, once you've experienced it and you're an experiencer in life, you just learn and know what is reality and what is possible, and the infinite souls and beings that we are, that our consciousnesses are, that you know, your instinct, your intuition is actually just your higher self, your higher consciousness speaking to you. And that are you going to trust in yourself, or are you going to give the power of what you are, who you are, and the limits of what your existence can be in the beliefs that others put over you, or what you experience yourself? As for the flat Earth, round Earth, it's actually fascinating, because from the physics dimensional geometry model that I'm making and coming up with, it's like, and the research into both, it's like both are simultaneously true at the same time. And they say something like 25% of the population believes that the Earth is flat, and it's that like at least 25% of the population has always believed that it is flat, if not more. Thus, it has always existed that way, as well with the global Earth. That it's just what dimensional plane your perspective is on, and that the life energy consciousness plane is on this first dimensional time frame of a single plane, right? It's like that page in a book, your moment of time that is infinitely going on forever with that moment. And that it is a disk. It's that torus shape. It is a one slice out of the center of the torus. And that the fullest possible dimension that one might call God, universe, or anything else, but the full source consciousness would be that ultimate torus shape and existence and whatnot. And that we are in a third dimensional realm, which is the sphere. Thus, it is also spherical, but to get out of the third dimension into the fourth is quantum, or consciousness over space-time. So you have to both overcome the existence of yourself throughout time and this one or three-dimensional model. And that on the one-dimensional plane, it's a forever going stream. So that is the forever consciousness, that is your dreamland. But in what is called the upside down in Stranger Things, but it's like where your consciousness goes, or where you go when you're on psychedelics, or when you go when you're meditating, or when you're out of body. It's that is you connecting in through, while still existing in your third dimension, into that fourth and fifth and higher realms. And that it's we still have to now accept these realities and understand these higher dimensional things, to then physically be able to get off this plane that we exist on, I guess.
Speaking of, have you saw the episode of Leak Project with the guy that went to South America and he hummed 3 tones on one of those Stargates, the stone ones, and went to meet like the creators of this experiment that turned real or something? Yeah,
I have
think
not seen that. That sounds actually fascinating. And right, like that's another thing though. It's that there's these one disk dimensions that connect into that highest dimensional portal thing, and that it, oh man, geometry and dimensions and understanding the difference between time, and that consciousness is also a dimension and it's scalable to the same geometry of sound, as in energy, electricity, gravity, spin, inertia, all of the above. And that you can't just look at one and keep your perspective from a one-dimensional plane, because then you will never connect to the full 10 a million plus dimensions of out there, right? And yeah, but at the same time, the 1D information, that is like the portal to go into yourself and into the upside down or the sideways realm. And yeah,
I'm still having trouble wrapping my brain around that, but I actually think it was Linda Moulton Howe who had the full story from that guy. I can't remember his name. Something Walls, or I'm bad with names, but it's definitely worth listening to the story. It made me a true believer in the gates or doors leading to nowhere all over the world, and what their purpose was, and the message that he got from these people that were wearing they were wearing Incan looking things, because that's what he believed that, you know, the people that made it would look like, so they're appearing as something that he could comprehend. But they basically told him that we started off as an experiment, and that it became real, like a universe within a universe, like on Rick and Morty or something, with his car battery, basically.
sorry, Carol. The irony is that Campbell has yet to join us in this stream. He is supposedly busy, either doing family stuff or other streams, maybe even doing a counter stream on his own channel simultaneously. I don't know. I haven't checked, but we do love Campbell and great times. Next time I'm on his channel, hopefully he will also be with us.
Yeah.
What's crazy too, though, is like the 5D 6-dimensional consciousness slash scalability is like folding in from, you're going plasma 4D, you're going ether 5D, and then it's like crystal is 6D. So, and like Keshi's and others have always described crystals as a plasma state solid. So it's like it's at least got these like superconducting properties. In crystal, it's like light goes through it, but you can also trap light in for infinite amounts of information, like all these insane different properties, that it's actually like a higher dimensional structured solid. That who knows if, like, I've heard lots of terms of like angels, but also light beings and crystalline bodies and crystalline consciousnesses, and then also inner earth, and like, or cavity earth, or like the possibilities are all so endless and crazy. And like, there, until there's disclosure of what actually is the fuck going on, and the more people focus on all of it, it's like maybe it's all real. But like for instance, the stories I hear of these like insectoids and like Global Vision, love that Russian channel if you've ever seen him. But like, he went super dark in what he started focusing his consciousness and his work on, and it was all about this like higher dimensional alien, like mantid
My friend
consciousness
sees those.
that like was existing throughout time. And I've also seen a lot of remote viewers talking about this like crazy like praying mantis insectoid like alien thing experienced when they're like traveling throughout space time and it existing throughout it. It's like, okay, so maybe, yeah, that could be a higher, some sort of alien, more evolved, higher existing consciousness slash alien, but in our three-dimensional realm where us humans are in fact the god on this planet, all they can exist at are little bugs that we squish because we have the power, and that they have, and like in this like fractal dimension that we are existing on together, it's that you don't focus into these other things and just make sure your own life that you're living and those around you are the best possible life that you can be, and that you're being constructive and building in your community and your life. And you know, that's all you can do. And whatever you put your reality, like your effort into, is what your reality becomes. All about the law of attraction and the power of projection, and never letting yourself follow into that spiral of negative entrapment and depression and self-fulfilling prophecy.
Right. Like complaining about bills and getting more bills.
But yeah, well, and accepting that I will never get out of this money like out of like this debt, out of this, I will never not be poor, I'm just trapped in this poor, and like accepting it instead of like, no man, I'm gonna fucking put my mind to it, I'm gonna work for it, I'm gonna look for it. And then you actively start looking for it, you actively start doing it, and then, well, sure enough, before you know it, you're putting in a lot of time working, and well, work pays off because you're working. And you know, when you're being successful, you attract more successful people to you naturally, and then you know, your successes grow together, and that is just how the universe works. Or you know, it's like, man, my life sucks, like fuck, I'm just gonna like kill this with like another drink and fuck it, and oh, call up this person, see what they're doing that I just got hammered with, and talk bitch about how shitty my life was all over again the night before. And that's all you ever do. But then you just hung over and you never getting to work and doing it. Or you know, there's the people that are just like, fuck it, wake up, have a beer, well, once they're at work, and then start working throughout the day, and they're good to go. You know, it's set in your mind, like, I'm going to make it, I'm going to get up, I'm going to do it, and then doing it every single day. You know, it's just, it is what you make it, and you reward yourself. Or you get to the point where it's like, hey, maybe I work first, and then I reward myself with getting fucking hammered and partying and having a good time on the weekends, and get the best of both lives. But know your limit, stay within it, and always make sure that you've done more good in the day than bad, and that like you're more prepared for the next day that comes. Except for those that are just crying that the sky is going to fall and always just staring at the sky waiting for it to fall. But you do find some things up there.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, this is Anubis, by the way.
Anubis.
Yeah.
He is a god. He is a god, right? Dog god. Like, what is God backwards? Dog. They walk us around. They pull us around. They make us clean up their shit for them. We feed them. Have to provide them food, love, care, and Anubis. That is quite the suiting name.
Yeah. Whenever his ears are straight up like that, and whenever he sits just like the Sphinx, and that's why I'm positive the Sphinx was a dog. Like, I named him that because the Hill of Anubis used to be called the Teptu-F.
Geometrically too. I get it.
Yeah, the Giza Plateau used to be called Teptu-F, or the Hill of Anubis, at one point in time, and most people don't talk about that. And that's why I named him. He's part half pit and half Australian Shepherd. He's a good boy. He's smart most of the time. He spites me, though. He once pooped in a $300 pair of shoes just because he was mad at me. He targeted them indefinitely. Yeah. They were nice Osiris shoes, too.
Well, Anubis didn't like Osiris, right? So for that in respect of Anubis, I will take off my Osiris hat that I am wearing because, well, clearly Anubis doesn't like Osiris. And I will put on my unicorn bear hat because that is what I am. I am a unicorn and I am a bear of a human. a shout out to Grassroots California, and me being a unicorn bear.
I saw that post on Facebook.
I'm a unicorn bear, a unicorn bear, a unicorn bear. And if you don't want it, you can change it and Velcro, and you're good to go. Change
That's
the bear
awesome.
mood that you are in.
And I feel kindred to you because you were talking about the story with your mom and everything earlier. My dad, he passed away from working at DuPont and Teflon runoff and whatnot, causing cancer and Agent Orange and all that stuff. But I was 8 years old and I was asleep.
Brother.
Oh, it's all good. I was 8 years old then, and I had like a deja vu problem where apparently I'm guessing I was dreaming the future, like a lot of my childhood. And then that happened, and like I was having an out of body experience watching him die in real time, and I was like floating over his body, and saw the whole thing. My aunts were here. My mom came up to wake us up right after it happened, and as soon as she opened the door, I popped my eyes open and said, "I know." And we went and got my sister and stuff, and ever since then, I haven't had that same ability, but um, I'm still working on unlocking that through white Dianetics and Dianetic therapy, which really is helpful if you know which parts of it are original and which parts aren't, like post CIA L. Ron Hubbard, where they totally warped his mind and he revised it. But yeah, that's why I felt kindred to that story. But my dad, he did the laying of hands on me and my sister, which is a Native American thing, and apparently it's Black Germanic, and like it was passed down through our bloodline or something. I don't know, and that's what got me interested in Reiki because I realized it was the same thing, and my dad had done it to us when me and my sister were little, where you just absorb our fever and then sweat it out, and I don't know. That was another thing that, like that whole story you had, made me think of, Burn. I don't know, made me feel some kind of kindredness. Unicorns. I don't know. Hey, Nibby, high five. Good boys. It's good boys.
Unicorns are real, man. You're looking at one right here. Just kidding. Or am I? Probably not.
Goodness. I just got out of my little recording studio right before your broadcast. It was actually a few minutes late because of it. Heck, I have most of my living room turned into a recording studio at the moment. You'll see there's sound shaping stuff on the wall back there, and the other side of the room is some
I also see
swirly
you in
plates.
the tinfoil cat Rex leak project hat, eh?
Yeah, this one's actually autographed.
Nice. Yeah, so
And
those like
I got
legitimately
another two in my
actually
room.
block. They actually block real microwaves from entering your dome. I've been meaning.
Yeah, they're made of platinum, silver, gold. There's strands of all of it in there.
That's amazing.
It's also why they have such a big price tag. But yeah, they're definitely worth it. I have less headaches and trouble concentrating considering I have a smart house and I got like 36 wireless devices running at all times. And it's helped me out a lot. They make other clothing made from the same material as well. It helps. There's even a version that you can ground yourself with, like with wiring, if you wanted to. It's like I don't remember if it's a blanket or a sheet, but you can go to tinfoilcap.co for one of those, I guess, or
Yeah.
talk to Rex Bear.
Yeah, Rex is dope. Man,
Yeah, I've got my.
shit going on. It's crazy.
Yeah, I tried to get him in here for this, like to just join in before I got on, and he wasn't replying to his Skype messages, so I don't have any other means of contact. He was on mine, but yeah, I understand being so busy. He's got a lot going on.
Yes, he does, and then he's also still got to manage the family and being a father and the kids and everything else. So, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Stand when people need their downtime.
Yeah, I'm still trying to find my niche for something I can just talk about, like on a regular basis. As far as starting a show goes, I was thinking about doing, now that's what I should have learned in school kind of series, but I don't know. I keep getting motivation and life happens, so I do understand the not having time.
Fascinating. Sorry, I'm just like, if you can see in my screen around the bottles how it's all like crazy, like wavy lighting stuff.
Yeah, I think it's neat.
Sorry?
What am I looking at?
Like, so right around these, is it like appearing like it's like almost like a little field sort of distortion?
Like you have green screen like stuff on or
Yeah.
something? Because there's like, yeah, the random black stuff is all over the room. It was dancing on your face when you were talking and making me giggle.
Was it?
Yeah, like
Okay.
it looks like someone was like, you're using like the green screen tech and have those colors like being blipped out into black. Like there's little black something or others floating around randomly in places. If that makes sense.
It does. It does. Okay, I see.
Yeah, there you go. But it did look definitely cooler with it.
I understand now.
Yeah, I was watching little designs floating around in your face. It made me feel like I was tripping when you were talking.
Oh, it's not doing it anymore.
You were up close whenever it was happening. Oh goodness.
In my eyes. No.
But yes, enlighten us to your jars. I've been waiting to hear an update on some of these experiments.
Good time to do it, I guess. So this one I still have to send to my good friend Francois in Montreal, and that is monoatomic gold and silver made together. And although I have like blue light on it, it's actually is a purple blue that it's turned to.
Is that the one with your blood?
No. This was just pure salt water, gold anode, silver cathode. So that is most likely the Philosopher's Stone, from what I've figured through my alchemy experiments. And it's like up here, you can see that it's actually gold plated, has dissolved onto the bottle, and it's actually coated with pure gold on the inside now. And then it was, when I first harvested it, the bottom stuff was pure white, but over a period of a couple months now, it has, it started about a week after I made it, started turning into this purple and layering. And yeah, that is what it is now turned into. And that's why I've never eaten any of my, or of large amounts of this stuff, because it does these reactions, and then that's how you accumulate particles that aren't monoatomic, but like tri or quattro or higher, that give you actual heavy metal poisoning instead of pure plasma powers. And yeah, that they will the bigger particles are small enough that they like absorb through certain cells, but then big enough that they then shred other cells within your body and absolutely destroy you. And that's how what heavy metal poisoning is. And then it's when it's in the pure white plasma monoatomic state, then it's small enough and energetic enough that it interacts with all of your cells on a cell to cell level, but on the also on the plasma energy level,
and then also that it's still proportionally, or it's big enough that it does that, yet still small enough that it can travel throughout the cells without shredding or damaging them or hurting them. It interacts with it energetically, not physically, I guess.
Right.
Most of the other is just mathematical, physical amounts.
That makes sense, because the reason I use the 300 kilohertz is because it interacts directly with like especially your what's this part, your where Edgar Casey absorbs information from books, that area. I can't remember what that part of your body is called, but your sympathetic nervous system, and it interacts directly with it on a static level, and that's supposedly how it interacts with your soul to direct your body to be like supercharging the areas of your body that need helped and kind of supercharged, I guess. But that's the theory behind the mission coil and the 300 kilohertz, and it's worked with every coil I've put up to it so far, when used properly, of course.
Nice.
But I figured out that's why it was so effective, and it interacts mostly with the sympathetic nerve system, and on the theory that, you know, that's where your soul actually connects to your body.
Okay.
Whatnot.
Same frequency. And what I really want to start doing is start taking pictures and filming in the Kirlian frequency. And the Kirlian frequency is, I have it written down. It's I think like 700 something hertz, probably off. But it's that photo or light range that is the same light spectrum as your aura. And that it literally, whether it's a copper coil, a leaf, or a living being, it captures a aura around every energetic being or item. And it's crazy if you haven't heard of it or looked into it. But
I just never knew how they worked. I've had a photograph taken in my hand once, but it was before I knew enough about the science to even really ask about it.
do you still have the photo?
Somewhere. I have everything I've ever had, like, on a computer ever, still saved on a big server. I just have to locate the pictures. But I have like 8 terabytes of stuff I'd have to sort through.
Got his homework.
But yeah, I didn't really even think to look into the frequency or anything like that. I would definitely like to know more.
I'm also going to start working with a bunch of sound engineers on making music on a lot of levels with the 432 and comparing them and whatnot.
Yeah, I didn't realize until recently that the Schumann resonance and 432 and all that, I didn't realize 432 wasn't solfeggio frequency until just the other day when I was looking through the ones that were like listed, and I had always thought it was one, and I'm not real clear on that.
Yeah, that is also something I gotta freaking reread on. I will. You know. So this is the printed tetrahedron that makes this guy.
Is that a disco ball?
Oh yeah.
The raven up in those tetrahedrons or whatever.
Who in the what now?
Raving inside the little pyramid thing.
Oh yeah. Everything I do has to do with raving.
Dude, if I had glow sticks right now, I'd be like,
I always have glow sticks somewhere.
I got some. I just have a dog on my lap. I can't go retrieve them.
There we go. So this one actually has some crazy circuitry with a big ass spherical magnet, and then above it in a circuit is a ring magnet, and then some iron wrapped God. Mike is
Transformers.
always constantly talking about it, how the induction happens, anyways, what the ones and zeros happens between electromagnetical current. That is a big thing as well, is understanding binary code within computing, and that it is based off of electromagnetical circuit changes, and computers are that analog material doing it still.
Yeah, it kind of blows my mind with how much I use it and how little I know about electricity or knew until like the beginning of this year. Because I've lived off of computers under one basically since I was like 5.
Hold on one sec. I'm just going to get another microphone and try connecting another camera here to some experiments I'm going to set up. Do you want to talk a bit about your crypto experience with mining and what you got going on with these helium miners or whatnot?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I started mining in about 2017. Well, actually, got my first miners in 2014, but I didn't get serious about them until 2017. They were S9 by Bitmain Bitcoin miners, and they take so much electricity. But I was mining for years. I don't know. I made enough to get about $100 a month off like 4 Bitcoin miners, and now I just sort of, it's so expensive with electric. It was coming out to like, I don't know, $5,000 electric bill at one point in time. I don't want to talk about that, but that's why we started doomsday prepping for a couple months after that until we got that bill paid up. But regardless, I just now I do just a single Litecoin miner, and it doesn't take much electricity, and I make about $10 a day in my choice of crypto because pro hashing I can put my miner to use, like rent it out to them instead of just straight mining for one coin, so I can get paid in any coin I want. But as far as helium mining goes, I am currently getting people to sign up for a free helium miner, which takes almost no electricity. It's just like basically a little router that uses 5G technology to basically helium. They're calling their network the people's network because the goal is to get as many people as possible creating a seamless network all over the world that connects the Internet of Things. I'm assuming one day we'll be able to make cell phone calls from it, considering the technology. But I mean, it connects everything, and I'm actually in early plans of making sort of a modern day pre-burnt Library of Alexandria on the People's Network, so that it can be something owned by the people and that it can't be destroyed with freedom of speech and all that. And I'm actually kind of lightweight looking for people that have programming skills and investors and stuff on the side, but I'd like it to be the first, uncensorable library by the people on the People's Network, since, there wouldn't be just a kill switch that governments could take down. But if you're interested in signing up for free one, so I don't know what locations are allowed to get it, but my thing, I don't necessarily make commission, but I mean, you can't beat a free miner. It's just a little bit of a backorder waiting list because of the world situation. But the URL for it is tech0, TEKZER0 .ihub.com, I believe. Let me check that out real fast. I'm sure we can put it up in the show notes if anyone's interested or something. But it's tech0.ihub.partners.
So, okay.
I'm gonna have to get you to send me that link first before we put it up again. Just as the one link I connected on, you took me to, it was like it had to pay to do some course or something was the first thing on the link.
Oh,
So it's like
that might have been
it's not a
something.
free. It's not free if you have to do a course. Two different things.
Oh, you don't have to do the course if you click the one that I sent you to iHub Global, that was probably just
I lost that one.
the
Must have lost that one. How's my sound now?
much better.
Much better, much better. Very good.
And I put the link in the private chat.
Perfect. Perfect. So helium, it's the helium miner. It's 5G though. Like, isn't it like also a 5G like Wi-Fi router too?
Yeah, it's LoRaWAN is the isn't that the protocol for the wireless? I'm still not like super versed in helium since I am waiting on my miner still.
Yeah, from what I've seen it's like apparent. I've seen a lot of complaints because it's like it's a 5G router, but then it's also they have slow connectivity for their mining because it is also 5G and there's not a lot of 5G infrastructure. And then right there, I'm just like, well, red flag if it's putting out 5G signal if it's one more thing in my house, but if the house is already connected to 5G, if your cell's already 5G, if you don't care, if you don't, like, no
Well, you can
thanks.
hook it up to your home broadband too.
Go for it. It's just something I need to look into more. I believe though that the same miners also do another crypto that's like a 5 generation
MXC?
5 crypto dent or no, maybe something else. D something. Anywho, I gotta look into it more, but yeah, I'll check out the link you sent me. So you're saying Litecoin, you mine? Did you convert your Bitcoin miners into Litecoin miners, or a different
No,
miner?
I have several S9s, Dragon Mint T1s, and I got all those up for sale because they're too expensive.
So which ones are layer 1 like Bitcoin, which is proof of work, and then which ones are like proof of stake sort of thing for mining?
Well, the ASIC miners that I have are proof of work. They're the L3++ for the Litecoin and the various Bitcoin miners. They're all SHA-256 algorithm, and they just mine proof of work and basically just verify the Bitcoin that's out in circulation. That's basically the miner's job there. And the proof of stake is more the helium mining and stuff like that. So it's like it is proof of stake, right? Yeah. Anyway, like I know that you can hook those helium routers up through your current broadband connection, and that will be where it can get the internet. It sounded like you were saying that they needed a 5G hookup or something.
Yeah, no, that was just a different aspect of like the miner thing itself that I read in a lot of the comments. But yes, you're absolutely right. You can still run it through the certain ones you can connect to broadband.
All right.
What the hell was I going to ask about with other?
I did just hear of an MXC miner that uses the Internet of Things, and eventually it'll be able to mine Polkadot and Bitcoin as well. But it's about $3,000 for one of those right now. But it's passive and it works off the same LoRaWAN or whatever stuff that helium miners do.
So what's Ethereum mining? What ones are those?
It depends. There's one by Bitmain that's an ASIC miner, and it gets a lot, but it's super expensive. So I don't know a whole lot about it. But then you can also do the GPU mining, like from your PC, or have a GPU mining setup, and they're proof of work. But they take a lot less power if they're not the
What
ASIC
would
miners.
Binance coin be, like the BSC miner, Binance Smart Coin miner? Are there such things?
I am not sure, but there should be. I figured there is. There's all
And
kinds, but they would most likely be some kind of Ethereum mining like
yeah, that's
capable.
what I'm thinking, right? They should be compliant with like whatever ERC20 Ethereum miners are, is theoretically, right?
Yeah, and in that case, you should be able to use your home PC or any laptop to sit there and mine it. Because I mine Ethereum with my desktop computer in its spare time,
Huh.
and my laptop.
I've got like 10 computers sitting around doing nothing right now. I should be doing this.
Yeah, it's Easy Miner is the thing, and you can find out more. I'll send you an affiliate link for that because that'll help me out if I have someone sign up. But it's prohashing.com, and you can actually it gives you the instructions to set up any computer with their Easy Miner software. It's straightforward, very trustworthy, and they just basically use your PC's computing power. You can do mine with your processor, which is usually XLM mining, and then your graphics card mines Ethereum best, so it'll always end up mining Ethereum. But yeah,
Amazing.
it's pretty easy to set up. All the instructions are on pro hashing.
Okay, I'm gonna have to read into this. Also,
Yeah, I
have
use all
you
my
got
PC's
experience with
computing
like
power.
exchanges or dexes and stuff? Like, what about Dodo Exchange? Have you ever heard of it?
I haven't. I
Okay,
haven't really dealt with that stuff a lot.
this is like the greatest. I love this. I'm actually a scam coin whale. I'm not scamming anybody. I was part of the scam, but I was able to. I bought the absolute dip of the scam coin, not knowing that it was a scam coin, and for literally 40 cents worth of Binance coin, like a 0.001 Binance coin, I was able to buy 3.4 billion Galabets. And currently, it's now like well-known scam coin. It just steals your money. You can't sell out of it at any exchanges, like it's written into the code, and that it's not the actual well-known good launchpad company Gala Games that actually makes crypto play to earn games and launchpads and stuff. Any affiliate, it was just a complete scam that took people's money. But my 3.4 billion Galabets is now on coinmarketcap.com, telling me I am worth. I will show this on camera for you people because I am a genius, and this will happen on the right coin. I promise. It will still come. The next one will not be a scam coin that I catch this with, but as it recalculates, we are worth. If that was real, my 40 cents turned into
Wow.
$113 million US. The greatest move play ever in a day of crypto day trading. Here is the see it Galabets Casino, because Gala Game with the same logo is an actual well-known good crypto investments in the different exchanges well known in the crypto economy. Galabets is a complete scam, but I bought 3.4 billion. That is now worth $110 million. And that means that $110 million worth of poor souls money got tricked and put into this scam since I bought the dip. So that's why it's like,
crazy.
oh, that's just, I feel so hard about that. And that's why I'm bringing awareness to the Galabets. Never, ever buy Galabets, because the way crypto works, it's like once it's up and going, you can't really take it down or end it, so that people will inevitably, as time still goes on, that don't know that much or fall for it, will just keep putting their BNB into this account, getting the shares, but you will forever have your money taken from the scam. But apparently, on one of these exchanges, Dodo Exchange, I can list it, and he said I'd get like 3,000 to 5,000 euros, which that's actually a fair
Not bad.
amount where like that I don't feel bad about. I'm not like ripping off a large portion of someone's money that got themselves scammed. That was actually like real gains in the crypto world, and what it probably would be if it wasn't a scam, and what it would actually be worth right now.
Right? Wow.
The crypto universe, it is something else.
It is definitely something else. Like I've made a good bit. Like my ASIC miners, when I was mining in regular pools rather than letting a company rent my miners abilities, like it would sometimes glitch, and my ASIC miner would be mining like 200 times what it normally would be for like a whole day or something, and my hash rate would just be off the wall. And I have a few pictures showing it, like going from like 12 kilohashes a second or something like that, all the way up to like 192 or 270, like in a matter of hours, and just stay that way for a whole day. And I get paid, no penalties, no backlash. Like it was crazy the couple times it happened. But I definitely banked those days, because I mean, it's like Bitcoin I didn't have to pay for. So I'm putting the affiliate link. If you want to mine from your computer, they have all the instructions on there. It's 100% safe. I've been doing it for years. And any computer, laptop, whatever, that you have just sitting around doing nothing, you guys can use their instructions under resources, and it'll tell you how to use Easy Miner to mine on any PC. I believe it's just PC. It might be Linux too, computer. And basically just uses processor or graphics card power to mine. It's got all the instructions on there. But yeah, it's pretty straightforward too. I have been on computers forever, but like I have to say it's probably the easiest thing involving cryptocurrency that I've ever done. You can have it cash you out every day to your Coinbase account, and you can even choose which coins you get paid in and what percentage of which coins you want paid in. So it's pretty decent. There's 15 people still in there. I wasn't sure if anyone. I hadn't seen a comment pop up on my TV in a minute. I love the multi-camera setup. It's the fractals.
If you go onto the comments on the right hand tab center of StreamYard, then it'll bring all the comments up, because we're also still streaming to Cambell's channel. There's 124 watching.
Oh wow. All right, I didn't know about all that. I didn't know I could do it that easily either, because I just put that link in only
And
your chat.
that gets me back. I have to give a shout out to StreamYard, because they reconnected my account, and they didn't require me connecting another credit card, so it means that they didn't even charge me. So I have the professional one at least re-established, and hopefully I got to check my emails. Hopefully they've given me some of the business features so I can start showing it. I'm going to be getting one either way. I've just asked if they can start accepting payment in crypto. But yeah, I accepted a job with, it's called Forest Awakening Music Festival, as well as Adam's Family Records out of Kelowna, BC. And they do an annual music festival in the East Kootenays, BC. And then they've got a actual professional recording studio in downtown Kelowna, Adam's Family Records. And then he's working with Church, Jeff Wilson, as well as Justin Make Him Deaf. There's
Sorry, I don't know if you guys could hear that in the background. I didn't realize I was had sound going. My bad.
Sorry, was that you double playing it or me double playing it?
Yeah. I switched over. I didn't realize there was both chats, and I didn't know how to
Oh,
give.
you
I
still
said
have
I was giving the affiliate link, so I switched over to Autodidactic and posted it real quick.
Gotcha. So this is actually Aaron on right now, not Mike. Mike, if you do go to the start of the stream, he's got a working pulse motor, working Don Smith double spark gap generator, and has built and run experiments with a working M machine. He is the electrical engineer of the group. I actually do have created lots of free electricity. This is a full working model nano-coated Keshi Magrav coil system, but instead of the connected to the self and the crystal, you have it connected to actual capacitors and into, as what Mike calls, a jewel thief circuit, but Keshi others call it a bell ringing circuit. Either way, it's a fairly basic electrical engineered circuit that you are essentially, it's a pulse circuit instead of your pulse motor. You're resonating, pulsing. You have a circuit set up where it's resonating at its same energy frequency, and then you're pulsing it through the capacitors, stepping up the electrical energy potential and usage within another circuit that has your resistance in it, your actual usage of electronics, and that it doesn't come off of the grid that is the open circuit. And then your bell ringer circuit is being pulsed off of it. Thus, you're just using minuscule amounts of electricity from the grid, thus charged very minuscule amounts off the grid, only you're running your full circuit non-stop for free off of the in harmony resonance that you have it in. So in regards to not knowing much about free energy, just wasn't the topic of what we were talking to, because I am also simultaneously streaming this to my channel, Campbell's channel. Sadly, he could not join us right now. Hopefully he has the link, so hopefully whatever he's doing at some point he becomes free. I'm going to email again and hassle him, and he does join on us, as well as my other YouTube channel, my second channel called Crypto Alchemist. And that's why we were getting on some crypto talk and explaining, learning, hearing Aaron's experience of it, of mining, being in the industry for what, 9 years? 2013, you said you started?
2014.
2014, yeah. So yeah, that's a decent amount of time then. That, you know, it's from what I hear, essentially it's like you're making $100 to a couple $100 on average throughout its lifespan mining it, sort of thing, or maybe thousands sometimes, depending on what you're doing, but just like for the average person and having to deal with it all, right?
Yeah, basically, like I use it as basically most of my income right now, like unfortunately, but
Exactly.
that's just with one miner and a bunch of computers.
With it, that it's like, man, everybody wishes that they were in Bitcoin in 2013. It's like, well, if you were in Bitcoin in 2013, chances were you were also spending Bitcoin in 2013 or 2014, right? Where it's like, yeah, sure, I had hundreds of them, but it cost hundreds of them to get that freaking pizza. Like, there's all the story about it. It's inflation, but it's inflation in the opposite way. It's like where your dollar used to buy you more, now it buys you less each year. It's crypto is the exact opposite. And that if you're getting in on some of the right cryptos, and then like you lock them in for a couple of years into these interest earning, like staking like accounts and sites, and just like smart contract essentially it's like an economic contract you're making with the community of other people and how you stake your wealth, and that after a certain amount of time it's going to come out worth a heck of a lot more, and that you all benefit from it. And that's what kind of Cardano ethos is based off of, but even more so Hex and what is about to be Pulse. And Richard Hart with Hexes, he's the only censored cryptocurrency out there. So that should tell you something off the get-go, that he is the only cryptocurrency in the entire metaverse. Other than, what would be interesting is to see if McAfee, R.I.P. John McAfee, because he was all about the privacy coins and crypto and a major player, and they killed him for that reason. But if McAfee had any association with Richard Hart, and that would be interesting, because Richard Hart, like, they still have official, like, his YouTube channel, 42,000 people. It should be like most shadow band I've ever seen. But actually start watching him every time within 30 seconds, or if he starts a new channel or goes on someone else's channel, anytime it's live, like, they just cut it. And it's like he'll still be going live on Odysee or whatnot. YouTube instantly off, not even like allowed to be mentioned on like Facebook or any of the others. And it's like the Hex was always called a scam, but it was like you donated a certain amount of your crypto to the burn, essentially, or to be locked in, and then like once the project was done, it'd be released and it'd be worth so much more, and it turned out to be. And I personally know a decent amount of people that invested in it very early, were scared for their life that they lost their money, and then got back and were extremely wealthy, and have done the same with the pulse burn, which was you donate any ether and then you get a ridiculous amount of pulse, which is coming out. But for anyone that slightly knows the crypto market, like, everything is called the next Ethereum killer, labeled what's going to do the official flippening of Ethereum. And that is because essentially Ethereum is currently broken with the amount of usage of the NFT market, the gaming, everything, just the way it was designed, that the gas fees are way too insane. And it's like, I'm personally trapped. Actually, if any Hexkins out there, anybody that feels like donating, God bless your soul, or anyone that can help me with donating a little bit of Ethereum to me right now, I will put the link in the description after we're done. But I am stuck where I have some Ethereum base. I have 245 US dollars of stable coin of it's Binance, but it's on Ethereum based instead of Binance Smart Chain, where the fees would only be like 20 cents to send it or to use it or exchange it, do whatever. But on Ethereum, which my trusty, they're working on fixing this problem on Exodus. I've talked to them. They're good people. But they currently only have it on Ethereum, where it then costs me $60 at the cheapest time to do any maneuver with that Ethereum in my wallet. 245 US dollars, where then it's like, to convert it into another crypto, that's going to cost me $60 US minimum, maybe 120 if it's at a busy time. And then also,
I'll send you some.
So it's like, to move it is going to cost me that same amount. And then if the crypto that I'm buying is also Ethereum, then it's going to also cost me that other, also now tripled amount, so that it's like, it's going to essentially cost me $180 worth of Ethereum to, out of the overall investment of the new crypto I'm going to have out of that $245. So I'll have a remaining $65 out of that $245 worth of Hex, essentially, after all the fees are gone. But I would like to buy some Hex before Hex before the Pulse airdrop. And
yeah, I want to know more about that, by the way. Like, I just, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, so it's that I have it that it's now linked to MetaMask, so I won't be charged the gas fee to send it anywhere. I can exchange it, even though it's still also held in my Exodus wallet, and that's something that's good. That to qualify for the Pulse snapshot that is about to happen, where you're going to then, when the Pulse network launches, Richard Hart is airdropping for free everybody that was part of this snapshot, which is holding your Ethereum and your ERC20, which is an Ethereum-based like smart crypto that lots of other cryptos are built off of. And it also works on Binance too and many other things. But anyways, it's too much to explain. But if you hold your Ethereum or your Ethereum-based tokens in a MetaMask wallet during the snapshot, you get airdropped an equal amount. You turned on your YouTube again, Aaron.
Sorry, yeah, I forgot that it starts playing automatically.
So at the launch of the Pulse network, because the test net just started, and so it's a hard fork of Ethereum. So basically it's a exact copy of Ethereum, because cryptocurrencies are open source. Everybody knows the code. That's how it's able to be checked. That's why it's trusted. That's why it's got value. And it's a hard fork of Ethereum, but it's got the gas fees fixed and a couple other awesome parts, like the fact that he's copying every single ERC20 token in existence in the snapshot that anyone holds in their MetaMasks, and are giving you an equal free amount of those tokens in the Pulse chain as well when Pulse mainnet launches. And for all Ethereum you hold, he's going to give you an equal amount of Pulse itself. And right there, it's like, so every token is going to start off at the base value of 0, but as everybody starts realizing that the one cryptocurrency that nobody has heard about because it's actually censored, because they're afraid of it, because it's the actual Ethereum killer and Ethereum flipper that is everything that Ethereum is, but better, and designed by a guy that is a humanitarian. He believes in no wars, not in killing humanity, and about by locking 5,000, or by locking, I think it's like $1,000 or maybe $10,000. If it's 1,000, then I think it turns into 100,000. Maybe if it's longer, then it gets to 1 million. But it's like either 1,000 turns to like 100,000, 10,000 I think turns to 1 million, and it's like a period of locking it, staking it for 5 years, and it turns into these T-share smart contracts, and then you have to like make sure that you go in at that time that it unlocks and collect it, but you'll actually get like exponential into the millions by that sort of interest and how the cryptocurrency is designed to work. And I know people that have actually put $1,000 into Hex when it started and got over 100,000 out of it to this day. This is not financial advice, but I am looking to get a little bit of Hex immediately. I would like to turn what I have in Ethereum US dollars into Hex and be able to then get the Hex Pulse when it is airdropped with Pulse. And I recommend, so how you do it if you own any Ethereum, you take your private keys of your wallet and you just create a new MetaMask account and you enter the private key in, and it will bring it up, and just essentially you have 2 wallets with the same amount of money in it. It's like having 2
Your
debit
chat said,
cards.
what about ETH 2.0?
Sorry?
Your chat wanted to know about ETH 2.0.
Okay, so ETH 2.0 is another it has to be a hard fork of Ethereum. It is a hard fork of Ethereum for the official ETH 2.0 that like the official one that's supposed to come out in December, but well, it's October and we haven't heard anything about it halfway through. Yeah, it's because it's impossible, because so here's the difference. Pulse hard fork of Ethereum is just launching that hard fork on a brand new network, and then all of the Hex people, because Hex is an ERC Ethereum token, so you're gonna have everybody still in that, but they're going to be more focused on all their free Pulse stuff and just doing stuff on Pulse where it's free and spreading it and getting their money. Anyways, so Pulse will only grow have all of these Ethereum people switching onto the Pulse network, where for that hard fork to happen, where Ethereum 2.0 hard fork, they literally have to shut down the current Ethereum ecosystem and operating everything and reboot it, and then hope that nothing glitched and they're putting out their new version of it. And that's why it has not happened. That's why there was so much debate about Alonzo hard fork with Cardano, but the way they did it, just I have a lot of respect for Charles Hoskin, great person, great humanitarian, but also genius mathematically and in business sense and in computer science mostly. And he did it perfectly. But as for Ethereum, where so Cardano has these NFTs where they were only like pixelized cartoon sort of things up until the Alonzo hard fork, and that's because they couldn't have these smart contract or this data stuff in it. And he had an operating system that he was basically able to like merge the light over and then reboot it onto this new one that had everything going on at once with very little data, where Ethereum smart contract is already operational, and then you have literally like 2,000 other, if not more, probably 3,000 or 4,000 ECR20 based tokens slash coins slash projects that are also money that are also like all of that combined into having to shut it down for a moment and rebooting it under a new operating system. Thus, if you think that that's actually going to happen, or it's going to happen on time, or it's going to happen without any glitches, well, I have an igloo to sell you in Hawaii, and it's beachfront property, and I will give it to you for $1 million. Just send it to my Galabets account. Right.
I'm waiting
Anywho.
for Coinbase to give my money I staked in it back once they realize that it's not going to happen.
So the reason why Pulse is so censored is because it is literally Ethereum 2.0, and where the Ethereum killers like Solana, or how Cardano was called, and how it might now evolve with the dApps that are coming with the Alonzo smart contract ecosystem and everything else. It's that Pulse is literally a hard fork of Ethereum, just like ETH 2.0, which is almost impossible to put into practice due to everything running, having to be shut down and then hopefully started working again. And Solana or Polkadot or Cardano or XRP and whatnot, they are already their own completely different hardware, also like networked infrastructure and communities and currency and everything else. And yeah, that's why they are called the killers. And there's the flippening, and then there's an actual censored Ethereum 2.0 called Pulse, and it's the testnet's already up and running. It has to do with Hex. It's the founder of Hex, and it's like Hex is more of the like long-term retirement fund crypto, and then Pulse is an actual ecosystem like craziness, layer one, but ETH 2.0 situation. And that's why I'm going to post my Ethereum. And it's also that I don't own enough Ethereum, and it would cost me like $100 of Ethereum to buy more Ethereum in my wallet, to then spend the $60 to freaking switch my coins over, and then it's oh my god, it's like I get like I'm gonna get 30 or 20% of my US dollar worth of these stupid ERC20 stable coins in my actual Hex that I'm getting. The only reason I'm getting it is because Pulse has Hex has dropped from almost 50 cents, I think, down into the mid 20s right now, and that the testnet has already happened. And ooh, that might have actually mean that the snapshot might have just happened because of that big dive. I'm gonna have to look into that before I buy it.
The only thing I had in my wallet was XYO in my MetaMask.
Right? Like, just start put the private keys in, man. Do it right now, because it could be happening at any time. It might have already happened. It might not have happened, but the airdrop will happen, and it will be announced, and it will be official as soon as Pulse mainnet. So as soon as Pulse goes live, and it is going to be something else.
Will you put the website or wherever I gotta go in the links, or do I just have to put whatever in my MetaMask?
Yeah, just so from wherever you're holding your Ethereum currently, whatever wallet you have it in, and any of your Ethereum ERC20 tokens, whatever wallet you're holding them on, or if you have it like on an exchange, if you have it on an exchange wallet, then it's like you're able to put in the exchange or your wallet's key, what did I call it? The key code, the key phrase? No.
The private key?
Private key. It's the private key. Not like, it's different than your seed code. It's not your seed code you put into it. It is your private key of your Ethereum and your ERC20s. But if you just do Ethereum, it should bring up most of your ERC20s that are in the same wallets. But anyways, you take the private keys of your current wallet and you enter it into a new MetaMask wallet, and it's not transferring anything, so you're not paying any fees, you're not losing any extra security, you're just also adding it into MetaMask. And then for MetaMask, you're able to use the exchanges like Uniswap, like Binance, and yeah, I highly recommend it. I recommend Exodus. I recommend MetaMask.
Bernie, you'll have to send me an address.
Both of those are free, so definitely get them. If you get them, I might even if somebody donates me like $100 worth of Ethereum, anyone that like posts a proof of getting their MetaMask and doing this and a Exodus, I will send you like one XRP and one I'll send you a Zilliqa. Because you can't send one XRP to new wallets. You can only send 20. So
I have something you can give to someone.
$20. I will send a Zilliqa. I will send, which is a crazy layer one. I will send an H bar as well. Yeah, so that's like 50 cents that I will send to anyone. But those are crazy carpet layer ones that you never know might turn into the next Bitcoin. So it's worth your time to do it.
Hey, Bernie, among the people that donate, I have a cold storage wallet, brand new in the packaging, that you could send to winner of whatever you create.
Nope. Unless I order it directly, or where did they come from? No, regardless.
It's still in the plastic, and it's
told that you
straight
can
from the company.
only trust a hard wallet that has been off of the actual Tezor site itself, and not just nowhere else, because
all right.
And I can't.
Well, this is a keep key, by the way.
Liability. Unless it's officially Tether, I cannot officially do that. So just for liability purposes, and that they can be hacked. But if you get one from the actual company, then they are the safest things you can keep your crypto in. And it's not that I doubt you at all. And if you send me one, I will offer, if you're down to donate one to me, I will try one out and keep a certain amount in that wallet. And yes, if you have that's a good point as well. If you have any Ethereum in a hard wallet and you just connect it to the MetaMask, that will qualify you for the snapshot as well. If the snapshot hasn't already happened, I will look into it.
So how do we get signed up for the income from the snapshot?
It's just they do a scan at the time of the snapshot of the entire Ethereum network through MetaMask, and then they're making a copy of it so that anything that's registered at that point, as soon as Pulse goes live, it's already been copied on. That's how it's a hard fork.
So it's automatic, like don't have to do anything.
It's automatic. Yeah.
Awesome.
Right, and that's what people really need to understand about blockchain and like doing the scans and like what Ethereum scan is, like what BSC scan is. And it's like everything, it's open ledger technology that like everything is recorded. Like hearing that, oh, there was this cyber attack and Trojan horse and they got paid like millions of dollars of Bitcoin. Nope, that's a alphabet agency inside job, because anyone hacker smart enough to know how to hack something on that sort of level and get that sort of money is smart enough to know that Bitcoin is an open ledger, open source recorded blockchain that they instantly get pinched on. It would be Monero or Zcash or CPRH, which is polka dots. Those are the encrypted, non-traceable ledgers. So those are the cryptos that a hacker would get paid that is untraceable, not Bitcoin that is recorded for everybody anytime for the rest of the internet can look up and see the transaction for. That's what you have to understand. Bitcoin, Ethereum, anything like any open source or proof of stake, proof of work, yeah, it's like unless you are in these specifically encrypted crypto privacy coins like Monero, like Zcash, like CPRH, it's available for the rest of the internet's life for anybody to ever access the internet and openly see and track. So, like, that's why I find it hilarious that I am a scam coin billionaire. I took a bet on Galabets, baby, casino. I rolled them dice for 40 cents of BSC scam right when it hit 100% crash, when it was announced that they got hacked. And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll buy back in. I already put 40 real dollars in. And then it was like, boom, 3.4 billion out of a total 10 billion. Like, I am going to corner this market. All right. And sure enough, people just kept pumping money in, and it's ridiculous. But that is the wild west of the crypto economy at this point in time.
So what address did you want us to send ETH to?
Unos momentos, por favor. It's like the computer I'm on, the Exodus wallet, is a different one than the BSUSD ETH is on. So if you donate it to this one, it still costs me another $100 to send it to my other account. That's how broken Ethereum is. Ethereum gas fees have broken it.
Yeah, I had a bunch of coins staked on Fox because they gave out a rainfall of like, I don't know, it was somewhere around $250, $300 worth of Fox tokens, and I ended up staking it with a bunch of Ethereum that we had to turn into wrapped Ethereum to stake, and it ended up being worth, like, not worth staking it because I don't know, Fox tokens they are what they are. Anyway, I was trying to get it out of that position of being staked and then get it off of I forget what Fox's main exchange is called, Shapeshift, and I had to spend like $120 to get that 300 off of there and out of being staked and stuff. And I feel you. That's why I'm willing to send you the ETH I got saved up from my payouts from using my Litecoin miner. That's what I like about that link that I put there for pro hashing, because you can get paid you can hook it up to it with any kind of miner that you have, any computer, whatever, and get paid out in your choice of coins. And like a percentage in any coin. They just added Solana on there as a payout option, but it goes straight to your Coinbase or whatever wallet address you want to put in. But I prefer Coinbase because it's free cash out, and there's no limits for how much you got to collect before you cash out.
Now, there is a good chance that the Pulse, I have not heard, I've actually followed like 10 different Pulse YouTube channels. I have not heard that the snapshot has officially happened yet. I just saw that it took a little dip. And in fact, a lot of the whales in the crypto market right now, I love it because it's like I actually, within a month of being donated some Bitcoin, which started my whole crypto journey, I was donated the Bitcoin, and actually Cambell was also donated an equal amount of Bitcoin that I was, because the guy thought it was one of my first interviews with Cambell, and he thought that it was my crypto address that he was first donating it to. So Cambell first got the equal amount of crypto, and then he said Cambell could keep that, and I created an account, and then the guy donated me an equal amount of crypto. And this happened on May 17th, or like May 15th or 14th, like literally 2 days before Bitcoin crashed by half. So I was like, oh my God, sweet. And I was like, oh my God, it crashed by half. And I was like, but I was like, oh, this is still pretty sweet. And then I was like, I should know what the hell I'm doing with it. And I think that's why Cambell is still trusts me enough to, or loves me enough to let me randomly stream to his channel while he's too busy to join us. But anywho, that's what got us started on our whole crypto journey. And I hope that I know that I love Cambell, and I'm glad that the universe worked out that way. But anyway, so that was like, then Bitcoin like broke in half, and then like I waited 2 days later to like night of May 17th, morning of May 18th, to then like go over to my buddy that knew a bunch about altcoins, and then like invest my Bitcoin into altcoins. And it was like the altcoins hadn't really taken a hit at that point, but Bitcoin had dropped by half. And then by the time I left my buddy's house, the altcoins had all dropped in half of price. And you can like look up, honest to God, May 18th or May 19th, whatever it was. It's well-known slaughter of cryptocurrencies when the elites did their little moon out. But I was able to see that when Elon and Tesla's and Cathie Wood's entry point to Bitcoin it was at 24 to 28,000. And right there, I was like, okay, it will never go lower than 28,000. They're doing what is called a Wyckoff accumulation phase, and it is a fractal rate proportional in geometry that they sell off to the sucker retailers, the small people and whatnot, of their large amounts. And then they start buying it back in cheap amounts, and then keep doing these little dumps. And it's all a proportional thing. It's in economics. It's taught in school. It's called Wyckoff accumulation phase. And everyone's like, oh, it's going to turn into Wyckoff the other one where it just keeps dumping it into a massive bear market. I was like, no, this is the bottom. It's not going to go past that. And I'm like, just wait till like the middle of July. And I was like so hoping for my birthday, July 17th, but it was like the 21st. So literally the 3/4 of the way through July, I was calling this in like early June and I became a bunch of moderators on a bunch of YouTube TA channels as well. And they will give me shout outs for this. But one actually owned by the moon. They acknowledge that I called this in early June, that end of July, the turnaround, it would never go below 28. So I called the market, and I called the reversal of the end of July for it to turn around. And sure enough, it did. And then the last part of this Wyckoff spring is Bitcoin going back up, which I said would happen in this fall period. Before November, and it's going to hit 100,000 easily. It's at 62.3 right now, so it's literally like tomorrow, maybe later today. By the end of the week, it will be into all-time new highs, and then it will also keep going up to at least 100,000 by Christmas. It might go all the way to 300,000. Either way, that it's. A lot of the altcoins have currently dropped right now a little bit because the whales moved all of their wealth from the altcoins into Bitcoin to keep pumping it and now do this massive pump up into these all-time highs, which are going to happen in the next couple of weeks. And then by of November, you're going to see this altcoin season begin, where certain altcoins are just going to be going up literally 1,000% in a day. I've got a bunch of my portfolio that are already going up. It's not even close. Right now is the time that it's actually being squeezed out of the altcoins, yet I still have a bunch in my portfolio that are up like 30% right now. Anywho, not financial advice. There is life-changing wealth out there. I don't recommend buying anything. I recommend you doing your own research and doing it yourselves, people. But to get you started, if you download a free MetaMask and a free, or sorry, yeah, free MetaMask, and I will send you a 0.001 of a BNB, which is how much I got my $110 million market value currently worth of scam coin for. If that was a real coin through MetaMask, I would actually be worth $110 million, because I actually still own that cryptocurrency right now. It's hilarious. And yeah, anyway, enough about that. Real talk. And if you get an Exodus wallet, because I do appreciate them, and they're fixing the Ethereum issues that they were stuck with just because Ethereum broke itself, I will send you a Zilliqa and a H-bar, which is 2 layer 1s that are pretty awesome, that are worth about 50 cents US. And they could each be their own Bitcoins in their own ways. I believe Zilliqa is actually a sharding technology, not proof of work or proof of stake, and it's Singapore's royal family owned, so it's going to also be the CBDC, or official digital currency of Singapore, so it's got very bright futures. It's currently worth about 9.5, 10 cents US, and then H-bar, which I believe is sitting at about 38, might have a spike right now. But they could literally be your Bitcoin worth value in 9 to 10 years. So try it out. I'm done rambling for now. Much love, Aaron. We will talk again soon. Love you all. And next stream, we will have Cambell on, I promise.
All right. Great to be here again. Love y'all.
Always a pleasure. Much love and respect, everyone. Love you all.
Oh, by the way, Burn, I sent you like $30. It's all I had online or whatever on the exchange.
I appreciate that.
Not a problem. All right. See you all later.
Have a good one, brother.
You too.